Ali, 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 yeah. I praise Allah for these lessons. I'm striving to be the message, and I thank Allah for His blessings. Ali was the circle 7. I praise Allah for these lessons. I'm striving to be the message, and I thank Allah for His blessings. Ali was the circle 7. I praise Allah for these lessons. I'm striving to be the message, and I thank Allah for His blessings. Ali was the circle 7. I praise Allah for these lessons. I'm striving to be the message, and I thank Allah for His blessings. Ali was the circle 7. I praise Allah for these lessons. I'm striving to be the message, and I thank Allah for His blessings. Ali was the circle 7. I praise Allah for these lessons. I'm striving to be the message, and I thank Allah for His blessings. Ali was the circle 7.
Islam, Islam, Islam. Moorish America want to rise upon the 7 within the circle of justice, mercy, love, and right, and give all praises to the great God Allah, Father God Allah, and honors to His holy prophet, honors to our holy prophet, Noble Drew Ali, El Hajj Sharif Abdul Ali, that is. We give honors to our Moorish kin once again here, there, and everywhere, and therefore honors to all of you who are continuously honoring yourselves by being yourselves. But let us come forth and open up the way. And as we come forth and open up the way, we ask that our Moorish kin open up their hearts and minds, that the truth may enter. And at this time, let us call forth our goddess and queen, Sister Hatshepsut Rakat Ma'at and Pu Tut the Common Bay, and Sister Dindra Nia Kurtabe to open up the way. Islam, Islam.
Islam, Islam, Islam. Dr. Hatshepsut Tutankhamun Bey, first of all, I'm going to rise, giving all praises to our Father God Allah, giving honor to our Prophet Noble Drew Ali, giving honor to our Egyptian ADEPTUS Research Sultanate class, our E.A.R.S class, to our panel online, to our family, and giving honor to each and every one of you. We're going to begin with our Moorish American prayer and its transliteration. Allah, the Father of the universe, the Father of love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. Allah is my protector, my guide, and my salvation by night and by day. Through His holy prophet, Drew Ali. Amen. Ya Allah, Abnu Haru Maku Netaru. Ya Allah, Ebhet Haru. Ya Allah, Mayat Haru. Ya Allah, Hotep Haru. Ya Allah, Haru. Ya Allah, Mayat Harakuti. Ya Allah, Awajet Dejuti. Ya Allah, Perdim Sutek Perdim Haru. Ya Allah, Bamaduti. El Hedjit Shepsisre Abtu Ali. Amin. Aliyasa, Aliyasa, Aliyasa. Islam Moorish kin, O Allah, the Father of the universe. O Allah, the Father of love. O Allah, the Spirit of truth. O Allah, the Spirit of peace. O Allah, the Spirit of freedom. O Allah, the Spirit of justice. O Allah, you are my protector. O Allah, you are my guide. O Allah, you are my salvation by night and by day. O Allah, through your holy prophet, O Allah, Drew Ali. Alayhissa, Alayhissa, Alayhissa. At this time, we want to turn the meeting into the hands of our National Assistant Grand Secretary of State, Dr. Dendra Ani Akurta Bey. Islam.
Islam, 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 Goddess, Islam family. I am Dr. Dendra Ani Akurta Bey, but first let me rise and give praises to our great God Allah. I give honors to our holy prophet, Noble Drew Ali. I give honors to Act 1. I give honors to all my government officials. I give honors to our National Assistant Grand Sheikh for this class. And I give honors to our National Grand Secretary of State for opening us up in prayer. And I will continue with our Constitution. Now let us come forth before with our divine Constitution of Moorish America, salvation, our God, and unity. Act 1. The Grand Sheikh and the Chairman of Moorish America are empowered to make law and enforce laws with the assistance of the Prophet and the Grand Body of Moorish America. The Assistant Grand Sheikh is to assist the Grand Sheikh in all affairs if he lives according to love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice, and it is known before the citizens of Moorish America. The bylaws. Act 2. All meetings are to be open and closed promptly according to the Circle 7 of love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. Friday is our holy day of rest because on a Friday, the first man was formed in flesh, and on a Friday, the first man departed out of flesh and ascended unto his Father God Allah. For that cause, Friday is the holy day for all Muslims all over the world. Act 3. Love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice must be proclaimed and practiced by all citizens of Moorish America. No citizen is to put in danger or accuse falsely his brother or sister on any occasion at all that may harm his brother or sister, because Allah is love. Act 4. All citizens must preserve these holy and divine laws, and all citizens must obey the laws of the government, because by being a Moorish American, you are a part and parcel of the government and must live the life accordingly. Act 5. No organization of Moorish America is to cause any confusion or to overthrow the laws and constitution of the said government, but to obey hereby. Act 6. With us, all citizens must proclaim their nationality, and we are teaching our people their nationality and their divine creed, that they may know that they are a part and parcel of this said government, and know that they are not Negroes, colored folks, black people, or Ethiopians, because these names were given to slaves by slaveholders in 1779 and lasted until 1865 during the time of slavery. But this is a new era of time now, and all men now must proclaim their free national name to be recognized by the government in which they live and the nation of the earth. This is the reason why Allah, the great God of the universe, ordained Noble Drew Ali the prophet to redeem his people from their sinful ways. The Moorish Americans are the descendant of the ancient Moabites, whom inhabit the north, western, and southwestern shores of Africa. Act 7. All citizens must promptly attend their meetings and become a part and a parcel of all uplifting acts of Moorish America. Moorish Americans must pay their dues and keep in line with all necessities of Moorish America. And then you are entitled to the name of faithful. Husbands, you must support your wife and children. Wife, you must obey your husband and take care of your children and look after the duties of your household. Sons and daughters must obey father and mother and be industrious and become a part of the uplifting of fallen humanity. All Moors Americans must keep their hearts and minds pure with love and their bodies clean with water. This divine covenant is from your holy prophet, Noble Jew Ali, through the guidance of his father God, Allah. Islam, Islam, Islam. And now we'll read our chapter of the week. Chapter 56, Holy Instructions from the Prophet, Sincerity. O thou who art enamored with the beauty of truth, and hast fixed thy heart on the simplicity of her charms, hold fast thy fidelity unto her, and forsake her not. The constancy of thy virtues shall crown thee with honor. The tongue of the sincere is rooted in heart. Hypocrisy and deceit have no place in his words. He blushes at falsehood and is founded, but in speaking the truth, he have a steady eye. He supporteth as a man the dignity of his character. To the arts of hypocrisy he scorneth to stoop. He is consistent with himself. He is never embarrassed. He have courage enough for truth, but to lie he is afraid. He is far above the meanness of dissimulation. The words of his mouth are the thoughts of his heart. Yet with prudence and caution he openeth his lips. He studieth what is right and speaketh with discretion. He advises with friendship. He reproved with freedom. And whatsoever he promised shall surely be performed. But the heart of the hypocrite is hid in his breast. He maketh his words in the semblance of truth, while the business of his life is only to deceive. He laugheth in sorrow. He weepeth in joy. And the words of his mouth have no interpretation. He worketh in the dark as a mole, and fancieth he is safe, but he blundereth into light, and is betrayed and exposed with dirt on his head. He passes his day in perpetual constraint. His tongue and heart are never at variance. He laboreth for the character of a righteous man, and huggeth himself in the thoughts of his cunning. O fool, O fool, fool, the pains which thou takest to hide what thou art, more than would make thee what thou wouldst seen. And the children of wisdom shall mock at thy cunning, when in the midst of security thy disguise is stripped off, and the finger of derision shall point thee to scorn. Islam, Islam, Islam. I will now turn everything back over to our national assistant grand sheik, Dr. Sadu Amiti El Maheji Sepsuel. Are you there, Godman?
Islamism. Can you hear me, Goddess and Queen?
Islam, I can hear you well.
Gratitude, Islam, Islam. And our brother Marvin, that was beloved brother, so your phone is you ain't gonna be able to read from the Book of Fire, are you?
Well, I mean, I can attempt to do so, and if
Okay,
well,
I just want to make sure you, if not all is well, I just wanted to ask before I volunteered you.
well, yeah, I can try to reading it within the Book of Fire. That I don't think that is as say detrimental as opening the meeting. You know what I'm saying?
Okay, all is well. I just wanted to ask. So, what we're gonna do then, as we always lay a basis and foundation, we're gonna start with the Book of Fire, and we want to start on page 423. And we can have our family come forth and take whichever portion they would like to. Islam, Grand National Secretary of the State, you already know we got you.
Praise Allah.
Islamism. Well, all right, we have page 423, and we're going to start at components of prayer.
Okay.
And let me go over here. Then we're going to go over to, we can have you stop at, and I want to make sure I divide this up. You can actually stop above the Moors are called to prayer on page 427.
Islam.
Yes, sir.
Okay. And then
Islam.
let me see. All right, Sister Curta Bay. You can start there at the Moors are called to prayer.
Mm-hmm.
And then you would actually go over to page 431 and end it right there at Amen on page 431.
Amen.
Yeah, where it says
Ju
Let
Ali.
him get right. Read.
Islam.
Okay.
So.
Oh no, you're all right, Grand Secretary of State.
You talking about right there where it say Ju Ali, amen?
Yeah, right there. And then the rest of it, we'll let our brother Marvin Edwards Bay take from
Okay.
page 431, to page 433.
Islam.
Islam. You see it, brother Marvin Edwards Bay?
Yes, sir.
Okay, I just want to make sure because it didn't have, I had a bold titles. I just wanted to put it at a good stopping point where she didn't really have to cut in between, the main information. Islam.
Right. So when she should end at amen.
That's right. And then you pick up from there and you can take it over to that last portion on page 433.
Yes, sir. Gratitude.
Islam. All right. Let me get out the way. Islam.
Islam. Oh.
No, I was just saying, all right, Grand Secretary of State. I'm muting out.
Gratitude. Islam Moorish Kin, having already risen, giving praise and honor where due. I want to give honor to also our family online, to Act One, and also to our host instructor, our National Assistant Grand Sheikh of Moorish America, Dr. Shadawa Menti El Mohajjed Shepsuel. Islam. 423 components of prayer: thinking, understanding, reasoning, willing, and remembrance. Although these are not the essence of a man's soul, they are indeed its actions. Prayer is a basic, active exercise of the soul because it requires thinking, reasoning, willing, and understanding. Man, being a spirit and a part of Allah in human flesh, his most natural instinct is to pray. It is through prayer he receives instructions and guidance. A prayer has three components: instructions, guidance, information, understanding; nourishment, spiritual energy, love, forgiveness; alliance, relationship, identification, status. Prayer is an acknowledgement of man as co-creators with the great God, as well as his waywardness and loss. Still, it is wise to know prayer and meditation are inherent calls of growth. The instinct to pray is created in the nature of all living things during his birth. It's that innate call for clean and pure nourishment from one's native source. Man seeks prayer as in every kid there is the essence of a goat. In each seed is the cry of that especial plant, and in every chick is the want of that particular fowl. Man can understand a baby's cry for its mother's milk, but he cannot see his being made in the image and after the likeness of God Allah. Question number 91. The urge to eat is nature's call to the earth for food to feed the human body. The mind of man reaches for the knowledge of truth for contentment. It is prayer and meditation that enables man to rise above the limited realms of human knowledge, where he can nurse from the infinite wisdom of his native plane. However, it is also the mind of man which has accepted the ungodly state of Maya. Now, his boundlessness appears hopelessly jailed by his own finite illusions. This is the state from which most common prayers are said. Most people of the Western world pray outwardly in the semblance of meditation. Usually, this is an earnest learned behavior or ritual acquired through parental or religious injected sociologies. More often than not, the God they talk to is the same one made acceptable to their minds and is socially correct to be today's God. Now, this is not prayer bashing, nor to say there have not been unnumbered individual or family prayers answered since 1492. Nevertheless, this book is about we as a people, a clean and pure nation, which the great God of their forefathers is exhuming. And it is to say, since slavery has always been a divine issue, the answer to the great Negro prayer problem is in hand. Speaking of the Negro problem, most slaves and ex-slaves have been taught the Lord's Prayer. However, there is much about this prayer that their pale-skinned masters could not reveal. These little-known secrets were kept from them in the missing 18 years of Yehoshua. The Egyptian origin of the Lord's Prayer. This prayer has been biblically proclaimed as the Lord's Prayer by the Greco-Roman nations of Europe. Yehoshua himself, as a Lord for the great God, never said this to be his prayer. Nevertheless, the Lord's Prayer, like most Commethian-based prayers, ranks high upon the list of most misunderstood prayers. The Al-Fatiha, as a close second, and the Moorish American prayer are sure to follow suit once it's known. Still, the truth remains man cannot live without prayer and the guidance it gives. Placing the historical events of the prayer in a true perspective, there are a few things which should not be overlooked. The Greeks, Romans, and others of pale-skinned nations of Europe were governing a portion of Palestine and were rulers over the Israelite nationals of Yehoshua. In fact, Greece controlled the national language in those days, as English is the staple language of the United States today. Yehoshua, by the time he was 30, had been in Egypt and India since the age of 12. He had mastered all their sacred schools and was known as Mahatma Yehoshua Babaji and the Christ/prophet, respectively. He was also of noble birth in a long genealogy of Nazarites. This prayer brightly reflects the ancient Canaanite and Commethian mystery system of Hotep, the science of peace/Islamism. It also shows that Yehoshua, being an Egyptian adept, was aware of the spiritual illiteracy of the pale-skinned rulers. He also knew humanity must go through 2,000 years of the quote-unquote six, the dark age of God in man/Emmanuel. During that era of European rule, there would be but little comprehension of purity and Allah love. Although Yehoshua knew well the holy and ancient name of the great Creator, not once did he allow it to be released into the hands of the European rulers. This is why he is not recorded as calling his Father God Allah by name in the Bible. As another point of interest, it is a sign of every major prophet to leave a holy book of guidance among their people. All holy books were ordained by prophets, including the last one, the Holy Quran. That is, all except the Bible, which is a comity of African holy books put together by the Greeks and later into Latin by the Romans. Unlike all other holy books, the Bible was never ordained by the great God through one of his prophets to be written. The Lord's Prayer. Now, upon this stage, let's examine the Lord's Prayer from the eyes of the original Egyptian adepts. Matthew 6, verses 9 through 13 is being synonymous with Luke chapter 11, verses 2 through 4. Our Father, which art in heaven. Our Father eliminates the misnomer of Yehoshua being God. The word our illustrates both possession, parentheses, lineage to Allah, and lineage to the human family. Here, Yehoshua teaches his disciples to meditate in order to transmit this prayer to our Father. He said, heaven is not far away. It is a state of mind. Allah never made a heaven for man. He never made a hell. We are creators and make our own. Drew Ali reiterated this fact by saying Allah made us, and albeit we cannot see him, the nearest place to meet him is in the heart. Question number 1 through 4. Hallowed be thy name. Here, Yehoshua held back the name of the great God. Being an Egyptian adept, he knew how to use the holy name of his father. According to his teachings, the true name of the Creator was only to be given to the pure in heart. But he prophesies that the great God's name will be known and will be kept holy, saved, and above all others. Then Europe had peace for a long time until Muhammad I came upon the scene and fulfilled the works of Yehoshua of Nazareth. 722 years later, the Prophet Muhammad hallowed the great God's name in Arabic to be used only by the faithful. And the name is Allah. For the past 1400 years, no Muslim has ever associated any other deity, son, or manifest with Allah. And it has never been changed nor contaminated. It's been kept holy, just like Yehoshua said it would. And most of all, Muslims give praises only to Allah, no thing and no one else but Allah. Thy kingdom come. The providence of Allah is ever all his works. Moorish Holy Quran, chapter 35, ayat 9. The kingdom that will come to all men is when they attain unto the blessedness of perfectness and at one with Allah. Moorish Holy Quran, chapter 1. The works of Allah should not be confused with the carnal works of man. The coming of the great kingdom can be seen in the balance. God's kingdom is the temple of perfected man. Moorish Holy Quran, chapter 5, ayat 21. Thy will be done in earth as it is in heaven. Masterminds express this as above, so below. Again, Yehoshua is reflecting his education of the self, which had been learned in the Egyptian mystery system. As a man thinketh, so is he. Resurrection, as he was taught, is when will of man and will of Allah are one. It is the will of man that makes possible the action of the truth, holy breath. Moorish Holy Quran, chapter 17, ayat 40. Man makes his heaven as he builds up his character to the dome of purity in life. The life of man, not merely that finite period between birth and death, is spent perfecting himself to be one with Allah. This is the will of the great God. Give us this day our daily bread. This day is the divine circle of created man, the completed fall and the ordained return of man into deific life. Here, Yehoshua leads humanity in the clean and pure nutrition of infinite wisdom from our native plane of spirit life. The term daily implies both constancy and the maintenance of status in the realms of God in man, and not that of any other fallen plane. Example given. Protoplast and earth and plant and beast. Moorish Holy Quran, chapter 11, ayat 30. A prayer is always requesting the Creator's celestial bread, which is guidance to the love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice portions of himself. Forgive us our debts as we forgive our debtors. The only true debt which man owes is his self to Allah. Being conscious of this fact of life, Yehoshua calls upon the spirit of love. Since Allah is love, Act 3, then love is the source of all forgiveness, grace, and mercy. He asks of this forgiveness and consideration of our own imperfections. Like our Father God, we too are to be all forgiving. Never have limitation to forgiving one another. Forgiveness is to be bestowed upon all alike. See Matthew chapter 18, verses 21 through 22. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. Again, the Brotherhood of Egyptian Adept Prophets demonstrates the oneness of their teachings. Here, Yehoshua prays for guidance, as Muhammad prayed for guidance in the Al-Fatiha. Sharif Abdul Ali prayed for guidance in the Moorish American prayer. All temptations are found only in the hearts of men. The tempter, name, is lower self. Moorish Holy Quran, chapter 15. Man's carnal nature sprang forth from fleshy things, chapter 1, and it is full of vain ambition and pride. Moorish Holy Quran, chapter 15, ayat 15. There is nothing that blinds the third eye or can hide the heart of a man from himself like vanity. When man becomes addicted to vanity, His life then is but the shadow of a dream. Moorish Holy Quran, chapter 40, ayats 1 through 6. Yehoshua teaches his disciples to pray for Allah's leadership from temptation, parentheses, evil, into man's higher self, which is the kingdom of Allah, known as man's dome of purity in life. Moorish Holy Quran, chapter 5, ayat 20. Through prayer, man is able to acquire the power to be himself and be glorified as one with Allah forever. Amen, as first recognized as infinite wisdom by the ancient Comethnians, is defined in the Moorish American prayer. Prophet Muhammad taught the highest degree of prayer. The ritual of facing an eastwardly direction during prayer did not begin with Muslims of modern-day Islam. This is a human practice that dates back originally to the fall of Isa and Isha, Adam and Eve, from the grace of the garden into being humans. Prior to the fall, when they were gods and goddesses, they naturally met Allah's commands through their heart's will of higher consciousness. See third eye. The fall of man began its descent from the light, parentheses, truth, and his in search of the light journey into the Maya of human knowledge. It was then man's highest ideals became his God. Moorish Holy Quran, chapter 10, ayat 16. And in time, the sun, Allah's noblest image, became his most wishful source of the light and direction of prayer. It was the ancient Comethnians that made a scientific study which discriminated between the worshiping of Ra, the sun, and Hotep, the conscious realization that exists between man as God and the light, which is the entrance to the maker of both he and the sun. The old tribes of Israel, later misnomer Jews and Hebrews, which revived the outwardly prayer direction, plumbed perpendicular to the sun to a horizontal landmark erected by man. Therefore, they proclaimed their city of Jerusalem as holy and faced it to sanctify their prayers. This remained a custom for nearly 1,000 years until the advent of the great prophet Muhammad. The ritual of which way should man face in prayer surfaced as a misunderstanding in Medina, originally called Yathrib, the city par excellence between the Jews and Muslim converts of Muhammad. Since the Meccans, Israelites, and many other nationals in that region customarily faced Jerusalem to pray, it was the Jews that assumed, because they had given the new Muslims refuge and equal rights of citizenship, that they would face their Qibla following tradition. But Muhammad, under Allah's command, was to take the Muslims into the ancient direction of prayer. But this was new direction for prayer, ordained through Muhammad, the way of the prophets, or to face the Kaaba in Mecca as opposed to the Qibla of Jerusalem. Was this new direction for prayer ordained through Muhammad, the way of the prophets, or to face the Kaaba in Mecca as opposed to the Qibla of Jerusalem? First, it must be remembered that Muhammad was a member of the agnostics order of worshippers called the Hunafa, Hanif, before becoming directed by the angel Jibril. A Hunafa was not a tribesman, but a seeker of truth, upright, by way of consciousness, as different from idol worshippers. In fact, Hanif meant those who turn away from idolatry. Also, when he was able to see the form of the angel Gabriel from where the voice of Allah came, when Muhammad was on the Hira mountain, it was in the shape of a man standing in the sky just above the horizon. The ancient Egyptians, from which most angels, example given, Michael, Gabriel, etc., derives, always use the word horizon to differentiate between higher consciousness and human thinking. Or, as Drew Ali simplified this lofty state to his Moors as, the nearest place to meet Allah is in the heart. Question number 4. These angels always look indigenous to Eden and can do no more than carry messages from Allah. Questions number 60 through 63. There is infinite grace in the art of meditation. Here again, meditation is realized as the most direct prayer way of all the prophets, angels, Muslims, gurus, and masterminds of all times and climes. This is key. Every prophet raised from among a nation of people always attempted to teach their followers to be like them, especially to pray just like them. Although, as in the generalities of men to be ignorant, rarely did more than one or few conquer Maya and ego enough to meet Allah. This holds true for Moses, Abraham, Yehoshua, Muhammad, and Noble Drew Ali. These prophets usually gave their people an alternative method of prayer linked somewhere between a tradition they were accustomed to and linked to the ancient direct way through fearless consciousness. Without the interceding of a middleman, rituals, or forms, they prayed best. In the Holy Quran, Surah 2, ayats 140 through 153, there are two definite degrees of prayer revealed through Muhammad in Yathrib, al-Madinah. Yet because this reading came forth in the midst of a separation between the Jewish prayer tradition and the new constitution of prayer for the faithful, only the congregational level of prayer is practiced by most Muslims of today. Although Muhammad uncovered the Jews as hypocrites and instructed his followers to turn their face to the Kaaba of Mecca, as do the Jews face the Qibla, few understood the higher degree of prayer first revealed to the Holy Arabian prophet. Muhammad made it clear that any earthly direction was of no significance to the divine. Unto Allah belongs the east and the west. He guided whom he will unto a straight path. This is the same straight path of the prophets, the way of those who thou hast bestowed thy grace, revealed in the universal Al-Fatiha. And Allah had appointed to him, Muhammad, as in the utmost center between east and west, between the two eyebrows, called a middle nation. Surah 2, ayat 143. A middle nation is a people, Muslims, in the uppermost will of the great God and has no Maya or ego gods, east-west, before Allah. Elijah Muhammad of the Moorish American Muslims called his nation of Islam a middle nation, but few have truly heard either of the Muhammads of the past 1,500 years. Ayat 144, translated by ADEPTUS, notes that Allah knows Muhammad has been relying upon, heaven, man's highest state of consciousness, for guidance. And now he would be able to enter the heart of himself, where Allah always sits upon the throne of wisdom and force. The Quran refers to the new place of prayer as being very dear to thee, dear in the sense of closeness. Drew Ali instructs the Moors there is no place dearer/nearer for man to meet Allah but in the heart. Question number 4. Here the Quran reveals this to Muhammad. The messenger of Allah was then instructed, so turn your face inward toward the inviolable place of worship. Then told all Muslims, whosoever ye may be, turn your faces, when in prayer, toward it. This is the first revelation on which direction to face when performing prayer. It is without a human handicap course of directional east or west, but centered in the middle. This places all Muslims where the wicked and human beings cannot go. Only the pure in heart can enter here. Naturally, because his Meccan followers were accustomed to facing Jerusalem, and Muhammad was born in Mecca, centered by the Kaaba temple, they literally turned on their heels in semblance of a foreign custom. Missed it. Meanwhile, their devotion has not gone unrewarded because 1,400 years later, the Kaaba in the holy city of Mecca is the Islamic center of the world. And although Muslims adjust their sun and moon compasses who pray from the north, south, and east of the Kaaba, it is still not the nearest, dearest place which one can meet Allah. Yehoshua himself was asked this directional question by See Yehoshua, Life, Works, and Teachings, where Yehoshua asks, why need we go away to find Allah? Praise Allah for knowing all things, including man's weakness that derives from the false readings of his senses. Muslims symbolically see this inviolable place as the Kaaba. Most of this narrow-sightedness has been held on by Arabians since Mecca was the old commercial center of the East. But there have been hundreds of Muslims massacred by other Muslims at the Kaaba. Every Holy Friday after Jummah services, a mufti decapitates a human head or a few of the cheers of Allah Akbar. And for those Moorish Muslims here in the West, you need to know with all your sincerity and search for the light, Mecca is still the African slave capital of the world. The advent of the seal of the prophets to bring Islam, the most holy Muhammad, has never changed the Arabians' love for slaves. Not to mention the Karmatians were able to confiscate the black stone from the Kaaba. Yep, right from the holy center. Obviously, with this much murder, theft, slavery going on there, the first command of which direction in which to pray could hardly be interpreted as the inviolable place of worship. Allah knows what man knows not. As revealed in the segment, How to Know the Lower Self, old customs, habits, attachments, and addictions are hard to break. But the faults do not fall on the prophets of Allah. The truth is, east, west, hate, murder, etc., is not requisite to man. They need to cease dealing with the dealings and endeavors of human affairs which sustain slavery, murder, and Maya, and be about their Father's work. In this era of consciousness and spiritual awareness, there is no good reason for one man to enslave another, especially when both master and slave reach the realization of they both are manifests of love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. At this time, I want to turn the meeting into the hands of our National Assistant Grand Secretary of State, Dr. Dendra Ani Akurta Bey. Islam?
Islam, Islam, Islam. Gratitude, National Grand Secretary of State. I will continue. On page 427, the Moors are called to prayer. Noble Drew Ali teaches, now men and birds and beasts and creeping things are deities made flesh. And because all forms of life on every plane are thoughts of Allah, all creatures think, and every creature is possessed of will, and in its measure has the power to choose. All living things, when in their natural state, give reverence and praise to the great God, their creator. This is also true for man. Although he is the only deity possessed with consciousness, Moorish Holy Quran, chapter 36, ayah 4. Only when humanity is in a fallen state of unconsciousness does it worship other gods before their own creator. Exodus 20, verse 3. The existence of every nation of the human family is they are divine products of Allah. And in the law, he has ordained as the rule of life, so kindly has Allah united man's duty to man's nature that obedience to his precepts is pure happiness to man's self. Moorish Holy Quran, chapter 35, ayah 21. But man must pray and meditate to begin to be in harmony with his true nature. Only in his own nature will man know freedom. Sheikh Noble Drew Ali has stated on numerous occasions, he is Allah's prophet. In Arabic, this would translate into Ashhadu Anna Sharif Abdul Ali Rasulullah. This declaration of Noble Drew Ali being Allah's prophet has and will enrage the average unaccomplished Islamic scholar. Be that as it may, no Muslim outside of their Arabic mind would attempt to place limitations to the grace of Allah. The most gracious are measured the mercy of Allah, the most merciful. Who is it to dare say that we as a nation of Allah are not worthy of this good stuff? Has there ever been any nation that has paid a greater price of admission into the kingdom of Allah? No. When all truths are revealed, The records of the human family will reflect. It is Allah alone that breathed forth the clear and pure nations of Moorish America, and ordained Noble Jew Ali the prophet to redeem them from their sinful ways. Acts 6. Only the Father of the universe brings forth nations and raises prophets from among them to serve as guide to the narrow way to Allah. Surah 10:47. If not the great God Allah, then what? If not his angel, Jew Ali, then who? Perhaps the pale-skinned nations of Europe, the Muslim of Arab countries? What about the NBC people themselves? What or who could and would save the Moorish American? The Moorish should think not with Arabia. Moorish Holy Quran, chapter 36, ayah 6. Chapter 38, ayah 6, but think as Muslims are created to think, with their eye of consciousness wide open. The advent of the Moorish Americans and their prophet is found throughout the constitution of the glorious Quran revealed to Muhammad. In fact, this holy book is so perfect and unchanged until, if this omnipotent truth could be removed, its message to man would be without interpretation or meaning. Surely it is not possible for people of the Torah and Quran to have forgotten when they too were lost and how they were shown the way back to salvation. And most importantly, by whom? Anyway, getting back to prayer. It is part of wisdom to know self and the great creator of that self, Allah. Also, to know why all praises are due to Allah. Allah has no need for praise, nor does the great God of all things have use for requisition or want. Indeed, man and man alone stand in the need of conscious prayer. Man's degree of understanding has evolved and opened enough to see Allah as one with himself. He needs no middleman, no priest to intercede. He needs only be guided through grace by one of Allah's vigilantes or prophets. Then he can go straight to Allah and place his mind, in Allah's own hand, divine mind, and all is well. Moorish Holy Quran, chapter 22 through 24. Noble Jew Ali gives the Moors holy instructions. He returned to them the old-time ancient Islamism, a higher degree of al-Islam, which is founded upon the first law of divinity, the knowledge of the self. 1400 years ago, 622 AD, Prophet Muhammad perfected Islam for the Arabians and chose it for those wayward infidels of Arabia. Surah 5 and 3. He did not invent Islam, nor did he father of the Arab nation. When the great prophet Muhammad was instructed by the angel Gabriel to read, his first revelation became known as the opening. This transliterate in Arabic to mean the Al-Fatiha. This later became the first surah of the Holy Quran and is today the all-encompassing prayer for Muslims all over the world. In fact, there is no Islamic business or any other Muslim endeavor considered neither right nor complete without the utterance of the Al-Fatiha, at least the first verse. In the name of Allah, most gracious, most merciful. There is no bath, politic, consumption, sex, teaching, elimination, communication, walk, sale, nothing absolutely Nothing is accepted in the Islamic world without Allah before and Allah after. The Al-Fatiha is often called the perfect prayer. The Moorish American prayer defined. Noble Drew Ali showed Moors the ancient adept straight way of prayer. Gratitude, being the highest form of meditation to the Creator, is the first sign a nation has truly recovered from slavery. One of the marks indicative of a true prophet is noted when he teaches his fallen nation how to pray to their Creator. Every nation of the book has a national prayer that was revealed to them by their prophet. There are about 16 prayers in the Bible. Solomon, Hezekiah, Isaiah, Isaac, David, Job, Daniel, Jonah, and Yehoshua. Disciples all had prayers. The most noted in the Christian West is what they now call the Lord's Prayer, Matthew 6:9-14. This prayer is also defined in the chapter. These prayers serve as beacon lights for its citizens and families because they are their spiritual roots into divinity. One of the greatest observations of prayer can be seen when man looks into the face of man and sees the image of Allah himself who speaks within. Moorish Holy Quran, chapter 8, ayat 10. With purity of heart, a man is able to see himself as truth and the great God as all in one. This is called bliss and is a true sensation and the all of love manifest. Chapter 1. Since prayer is the heart of any religion, Noble Drew Ali united the Moorish American prayer in perfect Comedian harmony, as was the Al-Fatiha. This is because he did not bring a new religion, but a higher degree of old time, pristine Islam of their ancient forefathers, not a stolen religion borrowed from foreign or unnatural sources, as one truth does not contradict any other truth. The Moorish American prayer does not supersede the great Al-Fatiha. It is, however, the straight way to the great God Allah of the forefathers to Moorish Americans. Both the Al-Fatiha and the Moorish American prayer are constituted upon 7 apostolic laws called ayats, Arabic verses. Surah is an Arabic word which means a degree or step, complete within itself, yet a portion of the whole. Ayat, also Arabic meaning a revelation, sign, or guidance. The 7 degrees of the Al-Fatiha. In the name of Allah, most merciful, most gracious, most merciful, praise be to Allah, the cherisher and sustainer of the worlds, most gracious, most merciful, master of the day of judgment. Thee do we worship, and thine aid we seek. Show us the straight way, the way of those on whom thou hast bestowed thy grace, those whose portion is not wrath, and go not astray. Amen. And the Moorish American prayer, Allah, the Father of the universe, the Father of love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. Allah is my protector, my guide, and my salvation by night and by day, through his holy prophet, Drew Ali. Amen. Understanding the Al-Fatiha and the Moorish American prayer. Al-Fatiha, Ayat 1. In the name of Allah, most gracious, most merciful. Moorish American prayer, verse 1. Allah. Here, the Moorish Americans were re-educated to the Arabic name of the great God. Question 94. the same God as praised by their African forefathers. Prior to this advent, the so-called NBC people's highest idea of God was either in the image of the Europeans or their designated likeness. It must be noted that the 2,000-year history of Roman Catholic and its spawned Christian churches never revealed the name of the great God. It was always assumed in Holy Mary, Mother of God, Father, Son, and Holy Ghost, or in the name of Yehoshua, etc., etc. In fact, it wasn't until after Noble Jew Ali authorized Islam in the West this fact surfaced to light. Today, in most Black churches, the Hebrew name Jehovah is used interchangeably with Lord and Savior Yehoshua Christ. In Islam, the African originated religion, there is no room for other gods, partners, or sons, only Allah. There is but one Allah, the author, the creator, the governor of the world, almighty, eternal, and incomprehensible. Drew Ali instructs the Moors to first know thyself and Allah. Actually, there's nothing else man needs to know. Moorish Holy Quran, chapter 38, ayah 28. When a Muslim is fully conscious of himself, he knows himself as Emmanuel, a God made flesh, and Allah is the great God. The opening of both prayers is the imminent recognition of the line uniting divinity and matter. This raises the consciousness of each Muslim to the precise deity of their prayer, the grace of Allah, the mercy of Allah. The E.A.R.S, ayah 2, praise be to Allah, the cherisher and sustainer of the worlds. Moorish American Prayer, verse 2, the Father of the universe. Here, the second degree are both humble submissions to the creative greatness of Allah, the incomprehensible architect of light and inaudible sound, the might of wisdom, will, and love to create and govern words, both seen and unseen. In conflict, the European calls himself God, see Freemasonry, Illuminati, yet has never created a world or universe. To name himself the white man is to proclaim purity, which means God. But where are the beings he has created, cherished, or sustained, not already fathered by Allah? Drew Ali warned the Moorish people about which God to serve. What title does Satan give himself? God. Question 93. There is but one God of the universe, one creator of nations, one maker of worlds. This verse of the Moorish American Prayer further focuses the Muslims' thought to the creator of the planets, galaxies, elements, and the universal order of the birds, beasts, fish, plants, creeping things, and humanity. Al-Fatiha, ayah 3. Most gracious, most merciful. Most Moorish American Prayer, verse 3. The Father of love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. In the Arabic language, Rahman means most gracious and Rahim means most merciful. These attributes of Allah should be first understood as being bestowed without measure upon all living creatures. They are indeed the mother of virtue and the harmonies of life, which protects and preserves and governs them. Grace and mercy are built into the nature of all creation. This is his care being continuous to us all, but only in our love to each other. Moore's Holy Quran, chapter 25, ayah 5. These third steps are directive for Muslims to concentrate on the omnipotence of Allah more so over than requesting the grace and mercy which are always there. Noble Drew Ali instructs the Moors to acknowledge Rahim Rahman through their holy principle of love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. Excuse me. It is with acknowledgement. It is with acknowledge. Amen. It is with this. It is with the act of these principles which Allah made him in his image and after his likeness. Question 91. With grace and mercy, man is made fearfully and wonderfully. Here he praises his creator with awe. Also, through this verse, from these principles of his ancient forefathers, a Muslim knows himself and the pride of Allah's creation, and beholds a part of Allah himself is within him. Moore's Holy Quran, chapter 36, ayahs 1 through 11. Al-Fatiha, ayah 4, Master of the Day of Judgment. Moore's American Prayer, verse 4. Allah is my protector, my guide, and my salvation. In this fourth elevation of Muslims submit to, number 1, the reality and spirit of infinite being which exists in this fourth elevation. Muslim submits to the reality and spirit of infinite being which exists beyond carnal birth and death, that slaves to sin called life. Number 2, man is a thought and an essence of Allah. He is beyond carnal birth and death, that slaves to sin called life. Islam. Wait a minute, y'all. Number 2, man is a thought and essence of Allah. He is therefore immaterial, eternal, free to act, and therefore accountable for his action. Moore's Holy Quran 36 and 7. Number 3, Allah alone affix the destiny of man. There is no failure of the human soul, and man will regain his lost spiritual heritage, but he must complete his victories over the murky, ethereal thoughts of his lower self and rise above Maya, which exists in his fallen state. Number 4, physical death is not the death of man. It only cuts the cord that binds the human boat to earth, and he may learn all his lessons there as well as him. According to science, a day represents the complete evolvement created to a circle of life. Question 99 through 101. The divine law which governs the life of man is no exception. Allah will judge the earth with equity and truth, and all men, when the soul has shaken off the cumbrous shackles of this mortal life, shall equally receive from sentence of just and everlasting retribution according to their works. Moore's Holy Quran 35, 23 and 27. The day of judgment is by divine design, when every soul must evolve to the conscious reckoning between atonement or suffrage and the mental hell which he has created for himself. Drew Ali teaches his people they are never without their Father God Allah. He has graced them with consciousness as protection against ignorance, deception, and fear. Allah always places wisdom within the reason of man in assured guidance. Salvation is Allah's covenant to man, that he will be fully saved, redeemed, and perfected by the things he suffered on the plane of flesh and on the planes of parentheses thought, soul, Most Holy Quran, chapter 1. Al-Fatiha, ayat 5. Thee do we worship, and thine aid we seek. Most American Prayer, verse 5. By night and by day. Level 5 in these prayers is complete giving of adoration, glorification, and praise to Allah, the spirit of love, truth, love, justice, and all-knowing. A Muslim fully conscious of himself knows it is futile to seek the benevolent journey without his heart and mind being pure with love. The we refers to all Muslims and those who seek to serve Allah. Night, according to science, is the darkness of ignorance, the blindness of human knowledge, naught, Maya, lower self, and represents the sea of fallen humanity. Night is man's carnal life, the valley of the shadow of death, the illusion of the flesh perceived by the five senses, and incarcerated in the finite duration called time. Night is incomplete, but is held between the entrance of evening and the exit way of dawn. Still, although as night is separated from day, as naught is from aught, day is the cause of night. Day is the cause of night, as aught is the cause of naught. Most Holy Quran, chapter 7, ayah 24. Drew Ali instructs the Moors to pray in the realm of consciousness that Allah is leading on and victory is assured as they journey here, parenthesis night, as well as in the hereafter, parenthesis day. Al-Fatiha, ayah 6. Show us the straight way, Moorish American Prayer, verse 6. Through his holy prophet. Ayah 6 is the sole requisition of in the Islamic prayers. The only request of the worshiper is for guidance. The word show translate as guide. Actually, guidance is the only thing a Muslim has constant need for. And like protection and salvation, Allah is the great provider. Fallen humanity is not strong, parenthesis, wise enough to save themselves from the wrath of darkness and sin. No middleman, priest, imam, rabbi, nor so-called spiritual leader can guide a Muslim to perfectness. This is why Allah sent angels, prophets, messengers, gurus, and Muhammads. They are prepared and sent from Allah, and therefore know the clean and pure way to man's lofty estate. This is but one Allah, this is but one Allah, and there is but one straight way to the sustainer of worlds. Allah is love, parenthesis, Act 3, and the only way to love is the purity of truth. When the ancient ones first founded Hotep, parenthesis, peace, the first religious creed, Most Holy Quran, chapter 48, ayah 6, they referred to the great God as the truth. Yehoshua later told John, this truth would make you free. Question 46. Muhammad read, show us the straight way. Sharif Abdul Ali specified that straight way as in the heart. In the heart, parenthesis, soul of man, is the nearest place to meet Allah. Question number 4. The great God Allah does not speak in natural languages of Arabic, English, Sanskrit, etc., but in the still spiritual parenthesis, small voice. He speaks within, more Holy Quran, chapter 8, ayah 7 through 10. When man feed from the ethers of his native plane, it is infinitely spiritual. Prayer and meditation commands the stormy seas of carnal life and mortal desires to be still. Drew Ali constantly told the Moors, he is Allah's prophet. Question 5, number 5. His angels sent to bring them the everlasting gospel of Allah. Question 41. And it is a saving power that comes from Allah through our ancient fathers. Question 41. Only through this holy instruction can the Moorish American Muslim be uplifted from the sins of Negro, Black, and colored into the truth of being themselves a clean and pure nation of people. Here in a body of flesh, among other manifests, the straight way is concentrated, parenthesis, narrow, and inwardly, see third eye. It is often stigmatized and made to appear as abnormal or evil. The crooked ways are glorified, televised, advertised, and popularized. Often they are made acceptable and comfortable in the rituals of mass congregational prayers, uniformities, and songs. But these are inspirations without interpretation and do not offer true the salvation. There is no straighter way except through Allah's holy prophet. No man can dispose the divinity of this truth. Al-Fatiha, ayah 7. The way of those on whom thou hast bestowed thy grace, those whose parenthesis portion is not worth and who go not astray. Moore's American Prayer, verse 7. Drew Ali, amen. Now I will turn everything over to our Consul General of Texas, Dr. Marvin Edwards Bey. Islam. Dr. Marvin Edwards Bey, are you there?
Pardon the body, I was just reading. Gratitude. Yes, I'm Dr. Marvin Edwards Bey out of the Texas Consulate, rising, giving all praise to the great God Allah, giving highest honors to his prophet, our prophet, Prophet Noble Drew Ali, Al-Haj Sharif Abdul Ali. Give high honors to this class, our Egyptian ADEPTUS Research Sultanate class, as well as I give honors to the host, Dr. Shedu Amenti Amuhezi Sepsuel, for hosting and instructing this most powerful class. Give honors to the panel and those in the audience. And I give honor to everything that is Moorish. And I'll begin reading. This final verse consummates and equivocally directs the personage and likeness of angels and men, whom have manifested the will of the great God. There have been many guiders of the straight way, and every nation of the human family has received at least one prophet, messenger, or spiritual leader raised from among themselves. Each of these are those who were blessed with the perfect portion of the one great understanding called wisdom, the gifts of the understanding of the treasures of Allah, and he appointed to everyone his portion in what measure seemeth good unto himself. Most Holy Quran, chapter 26, verse 1. It is the prayer of every good Muslim to know the chemistry of mortal life, master the ministry of death, and to solve the mystery of deific life. This is only possible when will of man and will of Allah are one. Then the resurrection is a fact. Most Holy Quran 17, verse 40 and through 41. The great prayer of Muslims is to be guided as Allah has shown favor upon those appointed by him as guiders. Muslims are instructed in the Holy Quran to believe in Allah, pardon self, to believe in all of Allah's messengers and not to believe in some and reject others. Surah 4, verse ayat 150 to ayat 152. The reason for this is they each have a portion of Allah, truth, for the guidance of man, and they are of one brotherhood. Some prophets are mentioned in the Holy Quran, but most are not. Still, Muslims are to recognize the truth at all times because the truth is their life. The Al-Fatiha asks the guided show the straight way. The Moorish American's prayer demonstrates Allah is the guide and it is through those holy prophet, Noble Drew Ali, their guidance is received. The route to prayer and meditation through the holy name of a prophet, guru, saint, messiah, or Christ, etc., originated with the first religious creed in Africa. Each of these angels had hallowed names. For example, Adam, Shiloh, Boaz, Yehoshua, Muhammad, to Ali. Their names are to be used as a master key to unlock the prison gates of Maya and materialism. Yehoshua taught Thomas, I am the way, the truth, and the light. No one comes to the Father, Allah, except through me. John chapter 14, verse 6. Gurus instruct all their initiates to reach the consciousness, self, through them. Muhammad taught the Muslims their first duty was a declaration of faith called Ashhadu La ilaha illallah Muhammadan Rasulullah. Their first duty was a declaration of faith called, I read that, meaning there is no God but Allah, and Muhammad is Allah's messenger. In this tradition of the old-time religion, Prophet Noble Drew Ali's name is in the Moorish American prayer. In the Moorish American prayer, Noble Drew Ali makes the Muslims aware that he is the prophet of Allah, through which their love, truth, peace, freedom, justice, protector, guide, and salvation derive. His name is specified as among the brotherhood of perfected souls, whom Allah has bestowed grace, whose message portion is not wrath, nor did he go astray. Noble Drew Ali fathered the Moorish exodus, the clean and pure nation of Moorish Americans from the unlawful and psychological slavery of the pale-skinned nations of North America. After 400 years of bondage, we and hundreds of millions of African forefathers who suffered through unmistakable lives of the Middle Passage and U.S. slavery and merciless deaths encountered such because of our recorded disobedience to Allah. Are we to be held enough, pardon self, are we to be bold enough to deny our prophet that has surely been ordained by the same Allah? No. It will only be through Noble Drew Ali's holy instructions, which, with the guidance of Allah, to make the Moorish captives free at last. Praise God Almighty, they are free at last. In His hallowed name, Allah, we pray. Amen. Amen is one of the ancient attributes of the one great God. Amen was handed down by the ancient ones to the Egyptian adepts and was used in Ma'at, the constitution of the divine laws, from the first act of creation, the physical world, to the psyche of man. It must be remembered Noble Drew Ali is an Egyptian adept master and brought to the Moorish the pure truth. He was not one of today's Egyptologists such as Faulkner, Petrie, Budge, Breasted, Gardiner, or Ehrman, etc. Their writings, like Alexander the Greek, Aristotle, Socrates, and many Romans before them, never reflects the true ancient Kemetic logic, philosophy, nor holistic culture. As the Arabian later referred to the great God as Allah with 99 attributes, the ancient Kemetians' name for the one God was Neter. Neter was worshipped through his many attributes. For example, Ra, which means life force, Atem, which means formless consciousness, Nu, which means infinite, formless, indestructible energy, Ptah, which means omnipotent, omnipresence, omniscience, Hu, or Who, which means be or speak, utterance, worlds into existence. Amen, which means hidden life, its hidden nature, consciousness, and the imperceptible. Noble Drew Ali refers to Amen in his questionnaire. Who made you? Allah. Who is Allah? Allah is the Father of the universe. Can you see him? No. Where is the nearest place we can meet him? In the heart. These four questions and answers teach the Moors, Amen, the unseen God hidden within the heart of man. Although Amen means faithfulness or conscious knowledge of the great God self. In Hebrew, it's an adverb defining truly, truth, or so be it. The latter is the biblical and Webster's primary use of amen. 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 The widely used is widely used throughout the Christian world, albeit an attribute to the first name of for great God, Neter, of ancient Africans. Of course, now, if you were to tell the God-fearing Christians they have just concluded their utmost prayers to an ancient African God straight out of Egypt, you should also be ready to duck, bob, and weave, and possibly get get on your bicycle. Often, these and other attributes are united two or more to express even greater consciousness of Neter. For example, Amen Ra and Ptah to mean his name is hidden still, a state of life force with omniscience and omnipotent creativity. Prophet Muhammad later used this tradition of uniting attributes of the great God. Although he defined 99 attributes, there are still the three fundamental attributes used in the sequence of in the name of Allah, most gracious and most merciful. Drew Ali, in line with this ancient Aquarian creed, uses the name Allah for the great God in these names. Question 94, the attributes of Father of the universe, Father of love, Father of truth, Father of peace, Father of freedom, Father of justice, joined with his attributes of being the protector, guide, salvation. It should also be noted that love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice are the five highest principles known to man. The 5 points of the Moorish star also represents them. When a conscious Moorish American chants his prayer in a mantra, a power is exerted by his will. His thoughts are balanced as above, so below. This is why the ancient masters taught prayer changes things. Naturally, one of the pillars of European world conquest was to deceive its New World Order with paganistic views of Hotep Islamism. They have miseducated the literary population of the earth to believe the honoring of Allah. Pardon, self? Okay. Attributes were polytheistic. That attributes were the names of gods. Often, European theology would conceal the African truths under the infamous Greek word Gnosticism. In actuality, it was the ancient Moabites, Canaanites, and Cushites of the pre-pale skin period who created the yoga system of India. Yoga is the aspect of Islamism, Hotep, which teaches self mastery through meditation and spiritual cultivation. But alas, the European nations have also misconstrued the yogis' insight to see Allah in all living things, attributes, as the worshiping of many different gods. However, when one masters the natural art of prayer and meditation, these myths will disappear. Okay? Prayer of meditation. Prayer or meditation, the word. The Vedas call it Shruti, that which is heard. The Upanishads call it Nad or Ujit, song of the outer world. The Muslims call it Bain Hasmini or Kalma. The Garbani call it Shabd or Shabd. The Naros the Zoroastrians call it Sarasha. The Hebrew calls the word was and is Jehovah. Jehovah. There is but one true way and nearest place to meet the great God is in the silence of the heart, the divine ground behind the eyebrows. Knock, and the door shall be open. Seek, and you will find. But you must be helped by the grace of a master soul, one who is an adept in the science of spirituality. This is the way of the prophets, saints, gurus, and all masterminds. This is true prayer, meditation, and true worship. No middleman, no priest, preacher, rabbi, imam, or others to intercede. An ounce of practice is 360 degrees more valuable than a ton of theory. Prayer is to meditation as a young boy is to a mastermind. Although one will unfold into fruition of the other, the one world is by chance, rehearsed, rituals, hope, and often selfish, while meditation is the use of conscious wisdom. Yeah, is by use of conscious wisdom of man to the divine mind. Prayer is used by those unguided in the science of meditation or until they can find the solitude to do so. Meditation is direct. Man's hand, mind, is God's hand, mind, and all is well. Prayers are like pollen blown into the ether from human needs with hopes they may be retrieved somewhere on fertile ground. With meditation, all thoughts form a complete circle of purity, love, and peace. Most congregational prayers are by rituals and forms that are scheduled social pacifiers from man's inhumanity to other men. But if man truly wants to meet the great God, he must go alone and look within. Actually, once on this straight path, he will meet the heavenly host of Melchizedek, the white brotherhood of prophets, saints, sages, and conquerors of the world of manifest. Some congregate for fashion, appearance, or to satisfy the required Sabbath. Immediately, The same worshippers are rejoicing while they eat the flesh of slain, executing murder, another human or other things that harm, all in the name of the Lord in which they were just praising. The science of meditation places one beyond dissimulation. By no means is this to negate prayer or the power of prayer, especially if one knows how to pray. Prayer is the spirit to spirit path of communication between the God child, man, and his creator, Father God. The parent and the child have this path even when the child has strayed. Middlemen usually require sacrificial payment dressed up in fancy words like donation, charity, tithes, costs of initiation, intensives, and contributions to be placed at the altar, shrine, or basket of their religion. Worshippers pay for the words about God, but not the word with God, because the word is God when God and man are one. Islam, Islam, Islam. I'll return it back over to our host, Dr. Shedu Emefiel Mohamed Sepsuel. Islam. Islam, Dr. Shahid El Muhaddiz Shabazz El, you there?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Just getting everything out the background, Grandman.
Yes, sir. Gratitude.
Gratitude. Islam, Islam, Islamism. But we want to rise again upon the seven within the circle of justice, mercy, love, and right, and give praises to the great God Allah, Father God Allah, and honors to his holy prophet, honors to our holy prophet, Noble Drew Ali, El Hajj Sharif Abdul Ali, that is. We give honors to our Moorish kin once again, here, there, and everywhere, and therefore honors to all of you who are continuously honoring yourselves by being yourselves. We give honors to our Grand National Seal. We give honors to our Grand National Emblem, national flag, divine constitution and bylaws, and honors to all of you who are indeed a living manifestation and personification of everything that our holy prophet brought to make us a nation. Want to give honors, to all of our family that are out there viewing us via YouTube, Facebook, etc. And we ask that you, if you have tuned in, be sure to hit that like, share, and subscribe so that our family can be attuned to this information, so to speak. So we give honors to you, Moorish kin, just trying to make sure this thing is streaming like it should be, and all is well, it is. Want to give honors to our brother Bati Bey, brother Born Dog. We give honors to your family and all of those whom may come into this special bill before we end it. That was a grand drawing to bear witness to the exegesis of our Grand National Chairman as it relates to the Lord's Prayer, the Al-Fatiha, and the Moorish American Prayer. And we laid that as a basis, because we know it is through language that we are able to express, words of power. In ancient Kemet, these words of power are referred to as Heka, or being able to speak, things into existence, so to speak. But at a high level of vibration, we understand that these same types of words are used in the arena of what we call meditation and prayer. We know that prayer is when you talk to the great God, when you talk to the higher self. And meditation is when you listen. You listen to that silent voice that speaks within. And this transcends any earthly language per se. Even though we know certain languages that we use are vehicles or vessels through which we express hymns, prayers, praises, and incantations or chanting, however you want to say it, evoking the name. When it come down to it, it's really being able to listen to that silent voice, the God within you, and you will have your answer. You will have your solution. You see? And so we take our people beyond the realm of spookism when it comes to that in special measure. We want to give honor to our Grand National Chairman for making it plain in the Book of Fire, the exhuming of a nation. Because we know that, there is no heaven or hell for man outside of man. The heaven and hell that man deal with or he encounters is within itself. The God and the devil that man encounters is within itself. So when we have a conversation with our higher self, then we realize that the lower self is nothing but illusion and will pass away. It's nothing more than a fleeting thought, So that being said, honoring the fact that, we laid the foundation with the origin of the Egyptian prayer, the Fatiha, and the Moorish American prayer, it's only right dealing with our subject matter. And this is actually dealing with an introduction to Heka-Ptah, a Coptic, and our E.A.R.S, our Egyptian ADEPTUS Research Sultanate. This is lesson 3, and let us get to it. And I was telling our family earlier, we're going to have somewhat more of an open discussion as we go into this particular drawing, because it's always good to engage, each other in this information, because that's where the foundation becomes even greater. So I'm trying to blow this screen up so y'all can see it. Okay, there we go. Make sure y'all got some viewership over there. And now we can go into where we was. And we actually had the same document we dealt with last week. It's a wealth of information in here. This is the Coptic language by F. Crilius Marker. And a lot of this, when you deal with these words, obviously are based upon Coptic texts, that had been brought forth from the Piscean record degree, the biblical expression, in other words, Egyptian texts that had not been really spoken of. We understand that the information that is being presented here is from the author's perspective, and most of his information is consistent with that of what Roman academia would state as far as dealing with, the narrative being concerned. However, we ourselves sifting through this information, knowing that the only way out of the fire is through the fire. The only way out of, disinformation is through the same misinformation through which our people was enslaved. And so there's a process of reverse engineering that has to take place, in order to re-educate our people. They have to be de-educated in order to be re-educated. Their minds have to be decolonized, and brought forth, with the realization that they must realize, so to speak. And so we understand the history that was being given here is ran down with the same narrative they normally give. But if you are able to read between the lines, for example, when he was speaking on the alphabet, and he said the Egyptian alphabets as the ultimate source of modern Western alphabet. You see, now we can get that, but the thing is, what are you referring to as Egyptian alphabet? It would have to be the hieratic. It would have to be the Demotic, because that is alphabet. Pictorials, as we already established and we always say, is not the alphabet. The pictorials is nothing more, like I say, than just looking at like we would look at it could be a yearbook or a photo album, that deal with reflections. And by looking at those particular reflections, if we was looking in a photo album, we seen people partying, we know that's what they were doing. We seen people eating, we know that's what they were doing. And we can make our assumptions based upon that after we recognize what's being demonstrated. That's the same way we deal with the glyphs and the pictorials. However, we go a little further with metaphysics, the metaphysical breakdown, and this is powerful in and of itself. Once we are able to understand this alone, family, that basically takes us beyond what the European or the Roman has been trying to state, the language was, what it represented to our people and so forth and so on. It's a powerful thing. We just got to be able to go beyond what we have been taught by Rome and get into a higher state of vibration. And then we can really grow as a result of what we know, so to speak. You see, that's the key. Once we're able to do that right there, I promise you, all will be well. I can promise you that no one will be able to deceive you again. They just won't be able to do it unless you just want to be deceived. So there are certain key points in a lot of the information that was put out here. In dealing with that information that was put out here, we found very important points that were made that most of our people look over. Like, look here, it says, they say the Egyptians developed Islam.
You're just reading, right? You're not showing us anything, right?
Well, I getting ready to show something.
All right, sorry.
And actually I got the screen sharing, so it should be sharing on your end too. It says share, but let me stop sharing and share it again to make sure. Islam, Morris Ken, did y'all see the screen sharing? I wasn't sharing for y'all either.
I saw the Coptic language book that you were presenting.
Yeah, I could have sworn it was shared. Okay. I don't know, brother. Can you see it now?
Yeah, I see your screen now. It's
okay. I thought it was already shared a few minutes ago.
Yeah, we see.
Yeah, so praise be to Allah. You got something going on over there with your phone, brother. All is well. You know how Rome is. They ain't built nothing to last. But yeah, so as we go into this, it says the Egyptians developed the hieroglyphic writing around 3000 BC. It says it consisted originally of signs and stood for words and ideas, but gradually each sign stood for a syllable and a sound. No, ain't no gradually it stood for a syllable or a sound. That's what the Romans later started saying when Champollion came on the manifest. And they say originally it consists of sign that stood for words and ideas. That's exactly what it represents, ideas. And the words represent what was being depicted. For example, a dog is a dog. That's what is referred to. A cat is a cat. You see, but these never represented one letter measures until Champollion came in there. And unfortunately, this is the narrative that most people take because they are going according to what Western academia has said and they ain't did the research. And they saying, well, if everybody's saying it, then it must be true. This is what they're saying now. It must be true because everybody's spinning the same narrative. So I'm going to go along with the narrative. Well, I don't work like that. And nor do the scribes here demonstrate like that either. We understand, what we read and we know what we see. And we ain't going to let you just tell us no anything. Now, some of our people might love to be lulled to sleep. And somebody tell them one thing and they go with it because they don't want to deal with what they consider a tiresome process. Of going into, these things. I want to give honors to our beloved brother too, brother Kaba Hawati Kameni. I got one of his books called The Shabaka Stone. I ain't went all the way into it yet. I just skimmed through it so far. But I am going to go deep in depth. But the brother, went deep into the concept of the way that our ancestors demonstrated. Like he was speaking of the Shabaka Stone, for example. He said, this text is comprised of a series of esoteric symbols, Neteru, that describe the origin and development of all things in the cosmic universe including the evolution and physical growth of humans and the involution of spiritual ascendancies of human consciousness. See, our brother understand, the fact that these pictorials have esoteric, symbolic and metaphysic meaning behind them, and he mentioned that a couple of times throughout this special work. We give honors to the brother for that alley-oop, so to speak. It's in here, and he demonstrated it many different aspects. The brother was talking about this, even understanding, for example, and I ain't going off the rocks with this demonstration. I'm just giving certain measures in here where our brother was speaking, and he was talking about a concept that you hear me speaking about, panspermia. He was saying, well, before the beginning began, the thought in the universe mind created desire. And it says, in her heart, a soul desire spoke word in his heart, and word made flesh. Flesh brought everything into being and started a process of the cosmos becoming in the universe the creator's first thought before the beginning was. See, this brother know what he talking about. And he dealing with everything as far as the cosmology of ancient Kemet. We learned that everything come from thought. Remember, we were just talking about the word and in how many different ways it has been expressed, so to speak. So man, the brother is definitely on fire with a lot of the information in this particular work, breaking down the Shabaka stone. But it's not what you think it is. This brother literally going in here and giving you the metaphysical exegesis, a masterful metaphysical exegesis, of these different neteru and the pictorials and so forth and so on. And this is what we're talking about. This is the way our ancestors originally taught before, the coming of the 19th century later on, when Champollion decided he wanted to change everything. You see? Man, this is powerful. The brother really goes in when it comes to dealing with different measures and the way that he expressed these things. And if our people are able to get these drawings, then they can get it and really grow off of it. So it's some powerful measures. So I encourage you, get hold to this particular book if you don't have it already.
Islam.
Islam.
Pardon yourself, Dr. Shaheed. What was the name of the author of the Shabaka stone?
Kabahawate Kameni.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm. And you should see it come up out there in Amazon or whichever book place you go through, because it's pretty much out there in it's in print. He just printed it not long ago. But I love the way the brother went into this drawing, dealing with the cosmology, the theology and so forth and so on. But yeah, going into the essence of the measure is what I'm saying is that our ancestors didn't look at pictorials as letters. They seen them as people, places, and things. So anyway, to get beyond that, when it says that the Egyptian alphabets as the ultimate source of the modern Western alphabet, you want to think in the lines of dealing with the hieratic. They say, well, the hieratic is a simplified cursive form of the hieroglyphic, but we already know, we beg to differ. We prove that it's not the same. Now, they have what they call cursive hieroglyphs, which is the same as the pictorials, and they try to lump that up with being hieratic, but no, hieratic is its own alphabet, and we have information and sources that prove that. Hieratic is the true alphabet, and then you have your Demotic. It was out of hieratic and your Demotic that, the Egyptian languages, it was out of those particular measures that modern alphabet came, and it didn't come with the Greek, because you got to remember, Greek didn't exist during that time. Nor did even Coptic exist during that time. So we have to go back to the oldest attested alphabet that comes directly out of the hieratic and the Demotic. And that alphabet, which was mentioned right here, was the Phoenician. This is what they had been telling you all. So I don't care if they get an alphabet and then call it Greek. If it was Phoenician already, it's Phoenician. So stop saying that, this information came from the Greeks. That's a misnomer, because what they call a misnomer was really Coptic. And so when we deal with the true aspects of the alphabet, you would trace the alphabet that we write with back to the Phoenician that derives out of the hieratic, like I say, in the demotic. That's the true origin of the alphabet, family. Phoenician is mentioned as being the earliest, expression of producing phonetic sounds. Hence the name Phoenicians as it relates to phonetic expression. See? Simple. So again, you'll hear them say, well, this hieratic originally was developed by the scribes who used it for both religious and non-religious purposes. If this is the case, then that means most of the documents that were dealing with religious and non-religious purposes or record keeping, you were reading them in hieratic. Hieroglyphics have never been used for the purpose of religious worship. You see, in business and writing these things, everybody know that. It's always said hieratic and demotic was used for that. So how do you think then that you will be actually dealing with hieroglyphics as a language, and you're going to get something out of it that's going to be able to aid and assist you in following the principles of Ma'at? When the principles of Ma'at are taught in hieratic, they're not taught in hieroglyphics. You see? The principles of Ma'at, when I say that, I'm talking about the actual teaching, the Saba'it teachings is what I'm talking about. They were taught or revealed in hieratic. They were wrote or revealed in hieratic and demotic. Now, as far as dealing with the metaphysics, or what we call, the formulas, that relate to a numerical system, similar to that of the Andrika, of our people, or the Sitter-Nimbers, gematria. And gematria is nothing more than dealing with geometry, sacred geometry, as it relates to signs and symbols, or what we call didactic art. You see? Once we understand that, we can take those pictorials to a greater degree of unfoldment. But other than that, you're just chasing your tail, so to speak. So anyway, it says around 700 BC, demotic writing was developed. This was simpler and faster to write than the hieratic, and the scribes used it for correspondence and record keeping, right? Same thing, right? So the demotic come out of the hieratic, the Phoenician comes out of the hieratic, and then out of demotic and hieratic, you will see Meroitic coming out of that. And then out of the demotic, you will also see the Arabic, as we showed you, developing out of that, which is known as Mudar. It later became known as Mudar by Ibn Khaldun, one of the greatest scholars, a Moorish scholar to be exact. When it comes to dealing with Al-Islam, he tell you that the language Mudar was the language of the Arabs. So it's not strange when we begin to talk about the demotic, and we know that the Coptic or Heka-Ptah actually derived from, the demotic. It also derived from, portions of hieratic. We see certain levels carry over from hieratic into demotic. And once we understand that, then we see, if it says that the last stage of the Egyptian language was Coptic, then why do you keep adding Greek in there? If Coptic came as the last language, you see, that exposes the lie. But this is because you have those who are trying to superimpose themselves into our history. So I don't have to keep saying that over and over again, but it's good to mention it here. Notice it says around 1500 BC, and I would say even earlier than that. The Semites developed an alphabet It says, which is based on the Egyptian hieroglyphic system, right? In other words, it's talking about the letters that the people did in the Proto-Canaanite alphabet, Proto-Sinaitic. They created a system, and they had a one-for-one dealing with pictorials. And this is why most Egyptologists and Champollion and everybody else were adamant that, oh, they must have been writing with pictures. But these picture systems that they demonstrate is not the same as the other people. You would think it would be one system if everybody was demonstrating with pictures. Meroitic pictures wouldn't be different from the pictures in the Proto-Sinaitic, or what they call original pictorial Hebrew. You see, if this was the case. So this shows that many people had their own way of expressing things, but you cannot find where our ancient ancestors in Egypt have an alphabet chart where they was demonstrating this. And I made this challenge throughout the community, and none have been able to provide us. In fact, one of the oldest things they were trying to attest was dealing with the alphabet, still showed the Demotic and the Hieratic in the text. And it was given the description of the picture that was being expressed in what we would like to call now signs list. So we see that Gardenia has stole his signs list from, Tanis. The concept of it anyway. So, only we have been uncovering these things and proving this to the people. We showed you, we took you into the documents and showed you what was there and what wasn't there. But nevertheless, it goes on. It says the Phoenicians, one of the Semitic people, perfected an alphabet around 1000 BC. Again, I beg to differ. I'd say it's a little bit older than that. But it says the Greek alphabet, which is the progenitor of Roman Latin letters, was directly derived from the Phoenician alphabet. In other words, what they call in Greek ain't Greek, people. Like I said, it goes back to the Heka-Ptah. And when you get into the Koine Greek, which looks a little different, but it's really still the same, this actually goes back to the Phoenician. And it was these that derived out of the hieratic, out of the demotic. They didn't arrive out of pictures. You see? Once you understand this, it make it easier. So therefore, you will be able to use the oldest attested measure, such as the Phoenician in its original form, and be able to transliterate, from the hieratic and the demotic and so forth and so on. If you place those letters, as a one for one beside the alphabets that represent your A, your B, your G, and so forth and so on. But you wouldn't be doing this with pictures. You see? And then you will come up with a better transliteration of the documents that were written in hieratic. The document, because them pictures ain't going to do you no good. When you get into really going into the text and really find out, because them pictures can be really misleading. Me and the scribes as well have went through a lot of these things. When it comes to dealing with the pictorials, we even created our own hypothetic pseudo-alphabet. We did that to show as an example how easy it is for somebody to come forth and produce an alphabet and say, well, this is Kemetic. Just because you took symbols and signs and you put A, B, C, D, E, F, G, and you can do it with any language. I can take any pictures I choose from the walls of Kemet right now, and I can go get the Arabic alphabet if I want to, and place the Arabic letters on the side of them pictures. And then I start writing with the pictures, and I use the Arabic as a transliteration. Words will come up out of that demonstration. And the same can be said with any other language. This is all Champollion did. He compared their so-called Greek, they say, but really it was dealing with the Heka-Ptah, and he put that on the side of pictures. And that's when he went astray. He should have been going a one for one with hieratic and demotic, not trying to compare things to pictures and make the pictures letters. That's where he went astray. He created a pseudo alphabet. Because if Meroitic is called pseudo alphabet, and it comes straight from the Nubian Kushites, they call it pseudo hieroglyphics. the Meroitic language. They call them pseudo-hieroglyphs. They call the Hebrew language that's made with pictorial pseudo-hieroglyphics. And this is long before, these charts exist long before Champollion created his stuff. So it's only right that you call his stuff pseudo-hieroglyphs as well. It's plain. You see? When you're trying to compare letters to pictures. So anyway, now that we know the true source of the writing deriving directly out of it, we go to the Phoenician, then we understand this is the same alphabet that was adopted by the majority of the people on the planet Earth in the East at that time. We can find that document, and I'm going to be honest with you, the same alphabet that's called Phoenician, we have record where it was called Egyptian. You see? But that's a whole nother measure. We done showed that to our family. All is well. Not the Greek family. So stop saying that Coptic derived from the Greek. It was the other way around. But we know that when you deal with Western academia, they have their particular narrative. They already put it out there. They spin it all the time. So, of course, when you pick up a book, in most cases, that's what it's going to be said. Because a lot of this stuff ain't really been written about outside of Mustafa Gadala and Brother Walter Williams. Everybody else is going along with the narrative. So you'll have somebody bring up that same regurgitated information just because everybody writing it, and they're going to believe it and eat it up. But here, two brothers and myself, we done did the research. We see what these people done. We trying to show you the cover up. But some of our people so in love with what Rome has done and what they said, and then they claim to be Pan-African. They claim to be for the people. They claim that they don't like to deal with no Roman and Arabs. We need to deal with our own information, but yet you fighting to protect this beast. You know what? We out here trying to slay him with the truth. And you claim to be so Afrocentric, but you can't get beyond the fact that these people actually tried to bury the language of the ancestors beneath symbols. In the slick way they did it, they used the symbols of the ancestors to bury it. And so this is why you can't see what's being said. You are blinded. They use your love that you have for your ancestors against you. So anyway, as it goes on, you know, it goes into showing different letters, and as they evolve, you know, the Phoenician alphabet, and this name is Alph, meaning ox, and Alpha, Greek. They showed you the so-called Greek coming out of that. Before they did it with Greek, though, it was Heka-Ptah in Old Nubia. All of this predates the Greeks, but they keep superimposing themselves in history and placing themselves there, trying to make themselves seem they're more ancient than they really are. And our people are going for it. They eating it up, hook, line, and sinker. So anyway, it goes on, it says, based on the above mentioned facts, English alphabet of the day can be traced back to the sign of the ancient Egypt, right? It says, Barbara Mertz states that the birds and the bees of ancient Egyptian script may have a more direct relationship to our own alphabet than we realize. Of course, there's a connection of hieratic to the Demotic, and Demotic to the Coptic, you know, and the Coptic, you know, to the Arabic, and the Arabic to, you know, the Hebrew and other Semitic languages, and then all the way up into the Latin. Of course, those things are connected to Egypt, but pictures ain't. Pictures are pictures. So we got to put the knowledge in the proper perspective. Properly compartmentalize the information, because it's out of order the way they demonstrate it. And like I say, the first thing they say, well, the pictures existed for a long time. Of course they did, but they didn't exist as an alphabet for a long time. That came recently. This alphabet taught in relation to pictures. Yeah, the picture was carved, impressed, engraved in stone. The same people that'll tell you that this is language, they say, well, you can't speak Medu Neter. I thought that you can speak languages, though. I thought languages were meant to be spoken. So if you can't speak Medu Neter, then how can you stand here and say that the pictures represent alphabets if Medu Neter can't be spoke? If it's a dead language, because surely if you got the alphabets that represent the pictures, then the language should be alive and well. That's just like me saying, well, when it come down to it, you can't speak the English alphabet, but I got the whole ABC all the way to Z right here in front of me. That's going to sound crazy when I know that these different alphabets make up words, because that's alphabets. So you should be able to speak it. You see? But anyway, as we go on, into this special measure, they went to showing how everything evolved through different languages, and then it comes all the way up into the English. I just wanted to say that from the beginning. I wanted to give this here because you see we use the word Heka-Ptah. People don't know what I'm saying when I say Heka-Ptah, being the original word for Coptic. It says the development of the Coptic alphabet, the origin of the word Coptic, the words Copt, or Coptic, as well as the words Egypt and Egyptian have the same origin, because they say Heka-Ptah, Heka-Ptah, Heka-Ptahs, Coptis, Coptic, same thing. All you're doing is a little sound shift. So it says the word Copt, or Coptic, as well as the word Egypt, Egyptian, have the same origin, and that is the old Egyptian words describing Egypt as Heka-Ptah, meaning the house of the spirit of Ptah. Prophet said, every word that I speak is spirit, and you Moors better take heed. But anyway, it says, means house, and Ka means spirit, and Ptah is one of the famous gods of old Egypt. Therefore, the words Coptic or Egyptian are linguistically one and the same word. We can see that even with the Coptic languages, that a lot of the words that are considered Coptic, they look just like the English. You see? But that Coptic is an extension, again, of Demotic, going back to hieratic and not pictures. So you hear them talking about right here, for example, the origin of the Coptic alphabet present 32 letters of Coptic alphabet. It says are derived from two sources. We already proved that it's not derived from two sources, but that it's actually derived of itself, and everything else was pretty much grafted into the Coptic language, or grafted out of it anyway, because they actually took letters from it. And they'll try to tell you the Coptic added 7 letters to the original letters of the Greek alphabet. No, the Greek letter took 7 letters out of the original Coptic alphabet is what happened. You see? Because if Coptic was the last stage of the Egyptian language, again, how can this be so if you're saying that it come from Greek? Because that would mean you say hieratic came, Demotic came, then Greek came, then Coptic came. And no Egyptologists teach that Coptic came out of the Greek or after the Greek. They all saying that Coptic was the last stage of the Egyptian language. A lot of this has to do with the Ptolemies also mingling and mixing at the time among the people. This is where a lot of the confusion come from. But they even mention here a contribution of the Coptic alphabet to the Russian alphabet. The current alphabet of Russian language known as Cyrillic alphabet, it was invented by Saint Cyril. It says in 826, 869 AD, and Saint Methodius, Methodius, I guess that's the best way of saying it. 815 and 884 AD, the two Greek brothers who were missionaries to Russia during the 9th century, they knew Coptic, and they introduced, along with the Greek letters, Coptic letters such as the sh letter there, right? It says into the Russian alphabet. I'm gonna show you something that really came up out of this too. Let me see if they'll bring it up. Let me see. Not that one. Probably have to go into my other one. Go into Google. Since we speaking of that, here's the Europeans. They wrote this. I said I was gonna grab this. I ain't bought it yet. But this is a modern book right now, the Hieroglyphics. And they go in on the Rosetta Stone talking about how bogus it is and everything. But this is a book that has been written coming out of that exact language, family. And they're saying it derives from the Kemetic aspect. But the main thing is they looked at these as being pictures instead of being in the sense of the way they try to demonstrate, the alphabetical aspect. But it's a book that's written right now, and they have created their own way of decipherment based upon, this. And this is not to say, okay, well, they dealing with the measure and it's been deciphered. I'm just showing you that here's a whole nother group of people now that's going against Champollion's methodology, and they dealing with it like we talked about, pictures and pictorials, So just dealing with that alone, family, and we just showed you right there in the document that we was reading, when you deal with the Coptic language, they tell you that basically where they get this from, because that's actually a book written by somebody from the area of Russia and all of that. So there's a Kemetic connection to the German and Russian languages. So that lets you know something about those people as well. I wonder where they got that from. So anyway, it goes on to speak, on how the Greek words in Coptic liturgy and the Coptic language in general, it went to breaking down, in the first few centuries, Christianity in Egypt, the Greek language was the cultural language of the world. It says in much the same way as English language these days. And Greek was always the language used in international councils. And so they used the Greek basically to replace the Phoenician. Many of the Coptic churches, fathers and saints, and Athanasius, the Pope, who mainly in Greek, wrote mainly in Greek, pardon self, because at that time, this is how people everywhere in the world would understand. However, many other church fathers wrote in Coptic. See, many Egyptians, especially in Alexandria, spoke Greek very fluently, in addition to Egyptian Coptic, their mother tongue. So the Egyptians were exposed to Greek, so-called, and it was easy because what they call in Greek, like I said, is just a alteration of Coptic. So they was able to adapt, just like some people may speak English and they can speak Spanish as well. That's the intermingling that took place between those who had Coptic language and Coptic teachings, and when they began to mingle with the Romans. So that's understandable that they would pick up on some of their language if they wanted to survive. So they go in there and show when St. Mark came to Egypt and started his ministry there, Greek was the language of St. Mark used, and it was the language of the liturgy that he had handed down to his successors. And when the liturgy was later translated from Greek to Egyptian Coptic, the church kept some Greek words and expression, and the Copts were very familiar with the meaning of these words. However, it is very important to remember that over 90% of the divine liturgy, service, and praises is in Egyptian and Coptic, and less 10% in Greek. So we've seen the chairman talking about the Egyptian origins of the Lord's Prayer. You see, hitting at this very same this thing here. Notice it's telling you 90% of their services deal with praises in Egyptian or Coptic, and 10% is in Greek. So this shows you that the majority of the books, and we actually showed you a whole bunch of books, that all of those books that they have, most of them was in Old Nubian and Coptic, a lot of your biblical books. But anyway, it says, and it makes sense, because if Yehoshua was in Egypt, then surely in order for him to live there at that time over a period of 18 years, then surely we can, assume that he would have to learn the language of the people that he was amongst. And they wasn't speaking no hieroglyphs. Around his time, this would make sense. You got to remember, the Ptolemy situation was before Christ. So by the time Christ get on the manifest of Jesus, as they say, he would have been dealing with the Coptic, the Heka-Ptah. If he came, what it was, AD, the year 4 AD, as they call it in the Gregorian calendar, 4 years after his own birth. So that's after the descent. But anyway, that brings us to why, again, a lot of the texts would have been mostly in the Heka-Ptah. Why they are, because we have the text, a lot of them in that way. We're going to be getting into that, but we want to become more familiar with, and it's easy. This is the easiest language to really learn, because once you understand the letters, for example, like this here, we went over this recently. We're going to touch on a little of this now, but I'm going to go a little further into something else in a second. I just want to mention it. Once you become familiar with these signs, you automatically know this is A, this is P, this is O, this is S, this C right here. Then you got the T, this is the O, this is the L, this is the O, this is the S again. So we can see it, apostolus, apostle. We can see it pretty much evolved all the way into what it represents. And we see over here under the name Marteros, we can see that the M, the A, you see the R, the T, right? Then you got what is considered like a E or a V or O. This is used in many different ways. This particular measure is mostly a grand expression. But then you have this R, and you have the O and the S again. Martiro, same thing being said here. We come into the word martyr there. See? Same thing with angelos, angel. You can see the A, you see the G, right? And they actually have 2 G's here. And then they have E, L, O, and S. Angelos. You see? Diakon. Deacon. So we see the D is interchangeable with the T and the H. Here it is right here. Same thing. You can see it if you look good enough. And we can say the same thing about all of these other words as well. Catholic. It says Kathliki. Catholic. And here it is right here. K-A, pardon self. You see, and then you got the T. This is theta. And this is the letter O behind that. L again. This is I. This is K. This is H. You see, Catholic. And then Catholic or Catholic. However you want to say it. And the same thing with orthodoxes. We see the O, the R. We see the T and H right there. That's the O. Then you got the letter D, which is symbolic to this pyramid looking symbol. Then you have the O again, the X, and then you have C, orthodoxos, which is orthodox. So it's simply learning the alphabets, and all you got to do is really do it like that right there, and you'll pick up on Coptic real quick. It ain't really a whole methodology in really learning this here. You see, once you learn the words, you see, once you learn it, you got it. So I want to go down here, and it says the importance of Egyptian or Coptic language. Listen now, it says it represents the final stage of the development of the Egyptian tongue. In the words of Cyrus Gordon, we have an unbroken tradition of the Egyptian text spanning about 5,000 years. Yes, that's if you trace the Coptic back to the what we call hieratic. That's the truth. But some people think that 5,000 years got to do with pictorials. And they're wrong again. Yeah, the pictorial was on the wall, but that don't mean they was an alphabet. And if they are, show me the alphabet chart that the ancient Egyptians got. Where they was doing that, where they were using that methodology. If you can't, then it's best to be humble. Anyway, it says, we have an unbroken tradition of the Egyptian text spanning about 5,000 years. Coptic language was the spoken language in Egypt until the 11th century, when it was gradually replaced by Arabic. So this lets you know that the Greek didn't even come after the Coptic, but Arabic came later. And we told you Arabic had connections, to what we call the Demotic language, being referred to as Mudar, the original Arabic. And there are grand connections when it comes to the Arabic language. All you got to do is study what they call Himyar. Himyar is also a language expressed by the brother Ibn Khaldun when it came to dealing with the Muslim. I know I got this stuff in my archives. And that Himyar is referred to as Amharic, and also Sabian language. But that's a whole nother measure. But nevertheless, Arabic replaced the Coptic. And it's easy to compare Arabic one by one, and we're going to do that in a minute, one for one, with the Coptic. That also sharpened you up in both aspects. But the dialect that was used in the Arabic was actually Egyptian Arabic, which is the dialect that I was taught by my Arabic teacher. He wasn't Arab, he was actually Egyptian. And he taught me Egyptian Arabic. That's the dialect that I learned. You see? But it says there are some historical records indicating that it was still spoken language in some areas of Upper Egypt until the 17th century. So we already see that all this stuff like the Bible was translated in the Coptic language, and, we can see that. Like I said, Yehoshua most definitely was dealing with this language, being on the manifest at that time. He came after all of that. So when you look at it right here on the one for one and you compare what they call in Greek and Coptic, if this comes straight out of Egypt, it automatically make it older than this, but you can see the same thing. The alpha, beta, gamma, delta, epsilon, zeta, eta, theta, iota, kappa, lambda, all of this here. You look at the letters and look at the shape, and you can still see they say, well, this is not used as a Greek letter. That's one of the letters they took out. And we can go on and on and on. Then they start trying to compare these things to pictures, the Coptic letters, which don't look nothing like that, but that's the way Rome demonstrates. The 7 symbols that was taken out. In all actuality, we find out these are Coptic letters. And they trying to say, no, this was added to the 25 Greek letters. Foolishness. So, yeah, but we do see, the equivalent. These are alphabets. So we expect to see the letter A and the V. And so they're showing you the sound shift between the Latin, and modern day English as well. So honors for that, because you can use that knowledge, to go a long way. And like we showed you this chart right here in our last bill on how they tried to say everything evolved. When they say hieroglyphic or old Egyptian, then they compare Proto-Sinaitic as being on the first of the list. It's because the Proto-Sinaitic, they trying to deal with the pictorial, but they don't get into the Paleo-Hebrew. And so they saying, okay, well, the Phoenician evolved directly out of that, and then Greek came behind that. Greek came from that, but Greek didn't come directly behind that. You see? And then they come over here and try to show the other branch shooting off and demonstrating this here. and showing you old Coptic came here, but they want to make it seem like Coptic came from the Greek. You see? We see it. And then they showing the Russian down here. Remember we was talking about that, showing you the hieroglyphics? But, you know, so once you learn all of that right there, you learn the proper order in which these things were made manifest, you can always end up going in here and paying attention, and you'll see, you know, how these words are being demonstrated. So that brings me down here, because a lot of this is just different words, nothing wrong with that. We utilize them right here, since we open up with this in the book of fire, dealing with the Lord's Prayer, which they call J-Pinyat. You know, and if you look at it, there's a certain way that this is spelled. You see? I want to come right here and just point out a few things, because they use two different methodologies. On this particular drawing, they use one methodology. On the other page that I'm going to go into dealing with the phrases, you're going to see another one. For example, when we come up here, we can see the Coptic up here, right? And this Coptic is basically saying the same thing that's being said here. So this is your J and J, E and E, P and P, E and E, N and N, Y and I symbol, the W and the O, the T and the T, the E and the E, you know, the T and the T, the K here, KH rather, in the EN, you know, all of that right there. N and N, I again, F and F symbol here, E being correspondence with the H, and then comes the letter O corresponding with that, and then W being used here. And then we have, and they actually took it all the way and then brought it back to the I again. So this is M and M, A and A, R and R. This is E and E. This is F and F, T, T, O. And then it drags out a long O, and that's this symbol here. And then it goes into the B correspond with the V, and then the O and the O again. Same thing here, N, but there's an E here. That slash on the top of the N represents N. So it's N, and then you have the J and the E, NJ. Then this is Pekran. That's P-E-K-R-A-N, Pekran. Now what they did here in the Arabic, if you pay attention, they actually wrote it, because you read Arabic from right to left. You read toward the heart. That's the same way you read a hieratic original. So what they are saying here is the same thing that's being said in the transliteration. This represents the letter J. This represents the letter Y, which they are corresponding with the letter E here. So this is J, right? And this is the same thing up here, Pinyat. And so they would say this is the P here in the front. This is the N. You know, this is the Y and W, Yat, and this is T, Pinyat, right? And then ET, you know, comes behind this word. Here it is right here. This is I, and then they had a T, you know, and then they go into kin. This is K, and then this is Y, N. So it's etkin. That's it right there, that whole word. Then they have Nifi. This is N, this is Y, this is F in the Arabic, and this is Y. You know, Infi, right? That's the way they spell it. Always. You see? And so they come off with it here, A, you know, and then they have W and Y, always. So they pronounce it always with A, W, and Y in the Arabic. Then you have Marif Tuvu. And here's the M order, right? F, Marif, without the vowels in it. That's M order, F, because you read original classical Arabic, it didn't have no diacritical marks on the top or the bottom. So this M order, Marif Tuvu. See, you come in the T, this is the W, Tu, Marif, Tu, and then we have Vu, right here, the way they spelling it. So then you have NJ, and this is actually again A, this is Y, this is J and Y. So NJ, and then pecorin, and this actually represents pecorin. This is P, K, right? And then the R is in here and the Y. So then we have, sorry about that, Morris King, I gave you the wrong one. This is pecorin. This is P, K, R, and N, pecorin. So basically what they did here, we have Coptic, we had a transliteration, and then this is basically the Arabic thing saying the same thing here. You see? And then when you come down here, we can see that they basically go into our Father who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. And all they're doing here is actually using actual real Arabic words here. Instead of correspond one-to-one on the Coptic transliteration, they're actually using Arabic words here. It's Aladifi, Amasuti, Al-Masuti. I'm adding vowels too as well. And this is Al-Yatakud, Al-Qudus, Al-Yat-Qudus, which deal with holy, look like to me. So anyway, and it says Asamak here. But these are actual measures that are corresponding to the words, as opposed to dealing with transliteration on the one-for-one. So this is the Lord's Prayer, and it goes on the same way throughout this whole thing here. But you got to know the Arabic to be able to make the comparison. Go ahead, Sister Curta Bay.
Yeah, yes. Before you leave that, Dr. Shaheed, can you go back right above that, Our Father who art in heaven, and that's what you were showing. I got a question about the Arabic. So that little where you say the first A in that word, it's like a long line, but it's got something up under there. Yeah, okay.
Which one? Right here?
Come over to right.
What, right here?
Go above that line, right above it.
Above this line?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, what you talking about? Right, one of these words?
Yeah.
Which one?
Right there.
This word?
Go back to your right.
Okay.
Right there. Okay. Come to your left. I'm reading. Okay. Come on, slowly. Come on. You see the long. You say that was a right there. If that's an A, you say?
Yeah. This right here represents, an A. That's
okay.
an A.
Okay, and what's confusing me is, and don't it have a? I reckon I'm seeing that right.
This corresponds with.
It's got a little something up under there though.
Yeah. A lot of the marks right there. To be honest with you, like these 3 marks. This may be rules in a different branch of Arabic.
Okay.
You see, but normally, because you don't see 3 dots like that normally there.
Right.
But me being familiar with Arabic, I know, well, actually it's over here. But me being familiar with Arabic as well, I know what certain things are by being in the knowledge. Like, for example, when I'm looking at the words here, I can tell that this is what they call in P, right?
Right.
We normally use F. So this would be like a beginning stage of what would normally be considered an F. But these 3 dots under it, that is not the ruling in Quran. You'll never see a word with that in there. But there are many different branches of Arabic, though.
Okay.
You see what I'm saying? And this is more than likely part of the Egyptian Arabic itself. But being that I'm knowledgeable, I know what I'm reading. You see?
Right.
So that's why I know right here, for example, this is the P. Right? This P comes the N. See the N here?
Yeah.
Yeah, this is the letter N in Arabic, and what's behind it is the letter Y.
Right.
So the Y right there. Then what is behind that is the letter W, and that W is corresponding with the O.
Right.
You see, and then the T is right here. You see what I'm saying? So I'm able to see that just like this, and you got to remember this is like sound shifting, because certain letters they don't use in the Arabic that they use in the English.
Okay.
Like for example, instead of O, they using the A right here.
Yeah.
They could have used U if they wanted to.
Okay.
Dealing with the vowel expression. you know, the way they trying to, and they just use A as the one of the alphabets to correspond with the vowel that they was using over here.
Okay.
So
Okay.
A would correspond with E,
Mm-hmm.
and then Y. I know that's the letter Y in Arabic.
Yeah,
I mean, not Y, but T. Sorry about that.
man.
Here comes the K and H right there. This is the Ka sound.
Right.
You want to get the Arabic chart and put it in front of you, you'll see this is the K and H sound. So this is again ET, and this is the KH
Right.
here, and then you have the EN, but notice they're using in Arabic YN because
Right.
the Y is interchangeable with the E.
Okay.
You see what I'm saying? So the person only wrote this out to correspond with these letters up here.
Oh, okay. Yeah, and I'm watching you just call them things out, and I'm like, I don't know if I ever be able to do it, because I'm looking at it and I'm trying to recognize. And when you showed me the ones that are wild, they're the only ones that I could keep up with. I'm like, how you do that? I mean, just to look at that. But like I say, I know when we first started out with the Arabic, the A was that little long line. But then when I saw them two little dots up under there, I'm saying, well, how did he know that's a A? You know, do little dots up under there? Do they represent anything? You know, so
yeah, I mean that's how you can tell which letter is what. Them diacritical marks. But see,
right.
these ain't got the vowels in them.
Okay.
So, like, you know, this is one of the most difficult things to be able to read Arabic without the vowels in it.
Mm-hmm.
But like I say, you got to remember, I've been doing this right here for a long time.
I know.
To learn the alphabet. To be honest with you, I learned the Arabic alphabet in like 3 days.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, I learned it in 3 days, and then just so happened this brother started teaching us. He just taught me the proper pronunciation. But I was already reading the Arabic before I learned how to pronounce it. They call that tajweed.
I hear you talk about that. Yep.
Tajweed is the proper pronunciation. But he gave me also, you know, in the Egyptian dialect.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like I said, I didn't know I would end up using this information later to teach the language, but Allah know what he be doing, you know?
Yeah, he do. Yeah, he do.
So the Egyptian Arabic just so happened to be the same language or the way of expression that the Copts use. So the Coptic expression is based off of the way I was taught to recite the Arabic.
Wow. You see
how the brother that taught me, he taught at Dar Ulum. He taught at Al Azhar in Cairo. He used to teach Arabic in Egypt.
Wow.
You see?
Yeah.
So it was a blessing. He was with the brother Nakati Ayadeen that I be telling y'all about.
Right.
You know, they all would be teaching us, you know, various different measures at the same time. I got an all Arabic dictionary up there. After we graduated the class, he gave us all Arabic, no English in there. Just straight Arabic. Yeah. So that was a professor degree right there. Like, all right, go your own, Jake.
Yes, love.
Yeah, it's a little Arabic dictionary too, not even a big one like the ones we just bought. That Quran. We got the small version up there. You know what I mean?
It's love.
It's love. That was the gift. Like, here y'all go. Now you're on your own. And so
I know that's right.
I just took what I knowed and, like I say,
immerse yourself.
Immerse yourself in it. Once you learn it, and the more we deal with it, you'll become familiar. Arabic easy to learn.
Yeah.
It ain't that hard.
I receive it. I receive it.
It's love. It's
love. Gratitude, God, man.
Yeah, and you're in good hands. You know, the hand is symbolic to the mind. So, this is powerful. What you'll be doing is going through here one for one in these letters, and you can compare. You can look at these line by line and just compare them. We're going to have our family do that because that'll make you memorize the letters better. You know, once you get it, just like I was showing, just remember from left to right. I mean, right to left, pardon self. This coming from left to right. And once you see this correspond with this correspond with this, and you go to doing it like that, you'll be able to pick up on it. It's going to help you memorize these letters just by going through the exercise. Because that's what I want to put in there as a homework, so to speak. Now, on us for this particular measure here, because we're able to sift through it and find what we need to find. So here in this document that y'all went into last week, there's a little difference here. But this is more dealing with the actual words that are being expressed here. Like this is like Rob, and this is like Sadir, you know, which is basically the Arabic words that correspond to Lord and Sir. You see? So Rob is Lord and Sir corresponds with this Sadir word. You see, or either Sarid, we can say. But anyway, up here, it's not the same correspondence on the 1-for-1 like the last one. You know, but this is your, you know, shields. And we see this here, this T, S, and the H is all one in this symbol that look like a little 6 up here. And then you see the O, the I, and the S. So when you see that, you see what this means now. Same thing here. You see the P, A, same symbol up there, and then here, Pachios, Sir, my Lord. You know, then you see like a Ya, and this is Asiriri. Then this is look like Ya, and this is Rabbi, which is my Lord. I know Rab in Arabic means Lord again. So this is a little more advanced right here, because these are actual words, and you got to be familiar more with the Arabic to really know what that's saying. You know, like I can see it, Yas, Shiriri, Shiri, and this is Tahi, you know. So, I mean, powerful demonstration, very powerful demonstration. You know, that's the difference between the way that they demonstrate it, but I can see it. Some of these words come out like they should. Like, for example, this right here is actually saying like, hello, sir, and they actually use the Arabic to try to spell hello out. This is letter H, this is the L right here. So they put it in the 2 L's, H-L-L, hello, right? And then they just said, look like they put a ya on here, but this is the Siri. This would be the other part of the sir, my master. Siri Rabbi. But yeah, we can, and it's the same thing on down here. You can see the correspondence on the 1-for-1. You know, the F is here, the R is there, the I is there, the same like we spoke of it. Then this is F, Naib. You know, you see it here. Hello, sir, master. You know, so I wanted to show that too, to show the difference between them. Like I say, this is more advanced, because you got to be a little more familiar with definitions and so forth and so on. You know, they got different words up here. What is the same, though, is the Coptic and the actual transliteration. You just got to remember, like this E here, then you got the S. When you see that symbol, that's the letter E, that little apostrophe looking thing. See, E.S, this is the letter S. It's actually backwards. And then you come into the H, you know, and the M, the I and the M. So that's together, actually, the sh sound. They just put a, you know, a indent or a bracket, so to speak, in there. That's the M, that's the I. Then you have I, and then you have E, N, E, N, O. See, the O correspond with the W, I again, and the K. You know, and then the Arabic word right here, you know, this is Zinat, look like here. But they're saying Coptic and this here together. So, yeah. And here's Zayani. But here they have the word Hayinuk, and this is their transliteration of it, of what adulterous woman or adulterous man or be adulterous. You know, so like I said, it's a little advanced, and I'm trying to read this stuff out without the vowels. This is Aini, Gai, This is the guy aspect. You know what? It's not guy, it's I. IND. NID. And this is Ashir Yin. And this is Shanti. Shanti. Shatu. Whatever vowel they may be putting in here, I'm just trying to sound it out. Almost like we do with the comedic measures when we don't see vowels. So this is T and correspond to EE and the I correspond. This is P-E-R, tear. So they put the T and the E as one. It can be either one, I guess, or you can express it the way they got it spelled. This is the G and the G, the O and the O, the U and the U, the T and the T. That's E again. Remember that apostrophe is E-N. N. That's it right there. Then you have R, O, M, P, and I. You know? Then they spell it out again. You know, like we showed you in the Arabic. I'm 20 years old. So, you know, like I said, that's a little more advanced. We're going to stick with the other drawing for the homework. But mashallah, we'll be able to get into this and be able to see it from even this side. Because you're basically learning something about the Arabic, because we're going into the Arabic next. After we get out of this, we're going into the Arabic. You see? So, yeah, that's a grand drawing. And let me see here. This Coptic dictionary is going to be pretty easy to understand, though. A lot of this Coptic dictionary is based off of, you know, a lot of biblical information, but they also have other words in here. For example, using the same method we were speaking of, you have Barnabas. You can see the B-A-R-N-A-B-A and S. That's in the Coptic, but it's still the same thing, Barnabas. See? And that's the son of consolation. Remember we talked about the gospel of Barnabas? Yeah. So a lot of those books like Barnabas and all of them, they got Coptic books that were cast out by the Roman Catholic Church, you know, because they consider them pseudo-biblical. You know, they didn't want people to know it, basically. That's another word, they don't want you to know it. So you can see the transliteration next to the word, too, so that's good. You know, like varos, and you see B corresponds with the V. We already know this in sound shifting. A, this P symbol is the R. We know that by now. O, and then this C symbol is the S. So this is baros. Varos, weight, burden, heavy load. You see? So it goes on. Varu. We see that. Barut. Like varut is what they say here. It says barshin, which is vashin here. I'm looking at the word and then going over here checking it out. So this is going to be pretty easy. This would actually make you become more familiar too. As you go through here and compare letter by letter what's being stated, you know, it's going to give you deeper insight into the Heka-Ptah. So the Coptic is easy to learn as well. Because, I mean, it's pretty much, you know, you can see how everything later, like your Latin and everything else, come up out of that. You know, so this is your transliteration over here. And this is the actual word, which you can see it looks just like it if you know the letters. See, it says Vasanizin. Here it is here. Basa. That's, I mean, Ba-Sa. B-A-S-A. And this is N-I-Z-I-N part itself. And this is actually said to carry over into even the Greek. So, I mean, we can go through this whole demonstration and find a whole bunch of names. This right here, for example, Veltum, Beltum, courageous, lion-hearted. See, the B correspond with the V, the E correspond with the E, the L right here. This is the TH or the theta, T. And this is O corresponding with the W symbol, and then we have N. So it's pretty simple. But like I say, this is your dictionary that I sent out to you. And if you exercise by going through it, looking at a bunch of different words, not only will it strengthen your Coptic vocabulary, so to speak, but you will learn how to better convert the Coptic letters into the transliteration of our own language, so to speak, or even other languages. And this shows you again, how one connects this back to the source, but we're not connecting it to pictures. That's all your boy did. Champollion went and tried to find something that was shaped like other letters and then come up with something else when he should have been trying to teach the hieratic and the demotic. And then we wouldn't have to go back and correct all this nonsense. And no, you see?
Islam,
Grand Secretary. Go ahead.
Oh my goodness. Having already risen, giving praise and honor, we do. Okay. In preparation for the assignment in reference to the Arabic, and I'm still at the level of looking at the Arabic letters by themselves. When it comes down to the Arabic words and things of that nature, because the letters change form when it comes in the word, from my understanding. Is there something that can assist with that? Because right now I've been dealing with a little video of learning Arabic. I'm still on the first little demonstration,
Yeah. Well, what you can do is actually pull out your Arabic dictionary.
Okay.
And use it. And you can go into. Let me pull the page up.
I appreciate it because I'm telling you.
You can actually go into the back on page 639.
Okay.
And then let's say I'm gonna go back to where I was on the Lord's Prayer so I can get an example up here on the screen. You got your Arabic dictionary in front of you now?
No, I don't.
Okay, all is well.
Okay.
And I'll still be able to explain it.
All right.
So all you would do if you're gonna go through here, and you ain't got to try to go through the whole thing, necessarily, unless you pick up the pace as moving through. Probably tell our family to pick a line or two, whatever how much you want to bring forth. But see this right here, for example, if you were looking at 639, you see the letter A, and you just search, the alphabets, in your dictionary for the letter, and then you see this letter here, and you'll see the same thing, and you can find them in their beginning, middle, and ending form.
Okay.
Once you're able to find them in their beginning, middle, and ending form, and you'll pick up on that too, because that ain't really, it ain't hard once you look at the list of them, and you can pull those up on line, like beginning, middle, end form of the Arabic.
Mm-hmm.
You'll be able to see them in all forms as well.
Thank you.
To break it down. So that
gratitude.
Oh yeah, no problem.
Yeah, gratitude for that little tidbit. Because I'm right with the goddess. I'm like, oh my goodness.
Walk through a folks up in here. We can do this.
Oh yeah. And this
having fun.
We're having fun.
That's right. This gonna prep for the next session that we going into, because we headed into the Arabic after this.
Mm-hmm.
And so this is definitely aid and assist. I'm trying to find, I thought it was a page in here in this dictionary that shows you the alphabet in the beginning, middle, and ending form. Let me see.
I remember you gave that to us a while back. You know what I mean? When we first touched on that Arabic.
Right. Yeah, like I said, they easy to find online, but I was trying to see if it was one in here.
Okay.
And they don't look like they're giving the rules in this one here. Let's see. I'm gonna go to the front and see if I can find it there. If not, like I said, you can always go online and find them, like literally Google it. And also there are videos, like you said, that you can watch.
Right.
Well.
Gratitude.
Yeah, there are definitely videos that can be watched as well to be able to see the beginning, middle, and end form. And you'll see that they pretty much look the same. The letters look the same. Matter of fact, I'm gonna pull one up for you right now. Let's see. Yeah, I see they got another guide here with the Arabic alphabet on 13A in the beginning of this book. But yeah, they didn't really give the middle in the beginning and the end form. You really find a lot of them out too by looking at the way that they are used in different words. That's another way you can learn, you know, the
Praise the
beginning.
Lord.
For example, just looking up here like this, we can see is the middle form of the T. You see? Let me blow that up a little bit. Right here. This would be a middle form. This would be the beginning form of an N. The way it's coming off. You know, N normally is a U shape with a dot in the center.
Right.
This is the beginning form of the N. This is the T. You know, T has its original shape, but in the sense of here, this is where it becomes T. This Y looks like the whole Y.
Yes.
This is coming off the end. Even the K looks like the whole K here.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And so you know, once you're able to pick up on like this Y, this is the beginning of the Y. Notice it's all coming off a hoop. That beginning comes off the hoop, and the middle form is expressed the way it is, but the end looks like the full letter.
Okay.
In most cases. So let me go here real quick. I'm gonna pull this up so our family can see. They got plenty of charts out here. Let's see. See, it said right there. It's all, and you got to type it all in. So see how I put Arabic beginning, middle, and end. Let me see which one it is. Like here go a chart right here. See how it's showing the letter B?
Yes.
B.
Okay.
This is the middle B, and this is the end B.
Right.
This is the beginning T. That's the middle T and the end T.
Woof.
Remember the beginning is, you know, coming in, the middle is right there, and then the end is pretty much the whole letter itself.
Right.
It's just coming off from whatever being said. This is that. That's the beginning, middle, and then that's the end.
Yeah, and that's what I was familiar with, the end.
Yeah.
And not the beginning and the middle. Praise the Lord. Gratitude.
Yeah, like I said, they're all over the place. You know, like here go other charts here. It's kind of blurry, but you know, they got them, you know, with more clarity on them. Let's see if that one go. Okay.
That first one was on time.
Yeah, that first one was good.
In kindergarten.
Yeah.
I was trying to make sure that it had the whole, that it got the whole chart. It probably do though. Like here's one right here, and it has it here. They giving it here too.
Okay.
This is the letter here. This is the beginning. This is the middle, B again, and this is the end. Like I said, see how close it is to the actual itself on the end.
Right.
And so that's how you can tell little small stuff like that. That's the T, and then that's the end form of the T.
Okay.
Same letters we just went over basically, but in this chart. Let me see. I'm gonna blow that up a little bit more. This is J. This is J.
Yeah.
Okay.
See, that's what I didn't identify. I'm like, wait a minute.
I see it now.
I'm like, wait, I recognize that first one. Yeah.
So when you see this, like this hook up here,
yeah,
that's mainly letting you know, okay, this is still J. This is the same J. This is the beginning. This is the middle, and then that's the end. See? And then this is H, you know, and then this is KH, the cat, you know. And the only reason I can do this, like I say, because I've been doing this for years, fam.
Yeah, yes.
You know, I understand it take a little time, you know. This is that, you know, and so forth and so on. Then this is da with the D and H.
Okay.
See, this is ra. You see, and then all the way into the end. See, this is za. You know, like Z and H. You know, and then you got sa. That's S. Look just like the actual Coptic S. Got that little curve, or like what they call the Hebrew, and this is sha with 3. See how they got these 3 on the top? That's why I was saying you never normally see 3 on the bottom like you see in that other document. The 3 is like always going to be
Sheen, right? Seen and Sheen.
That's right. That's Seen right there, and that's Sheen.
Okay.
Yeah, most of them are grouped together beside each other. They
Right.
just add the dot, like this is Sod, this is Dod.
God.
Okay.
See what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So yeah, that's basically
Praise the
how
Lord.
you go into it, and you'll be able to pick up on it. But like I said, if you go letter for letter, you'll see them as we go into them.
Gratitude.
Gratitude. Islam.
Gratitude,
Oh,
Islamism,
Lord, no, he know I needed some backup. My
Not you but
goodness.
me and you, not you but me.
Yeah.
Look, I had a pain like a ham upside my neck, my back. I'm like, oh my
Islam.
goodness.
Now, y'all know this one goes into the sequential harmonics that we demonstrate. You can say Alif, Ba, Ta, Ta, Jim, Ha, Ka. You know what I mean? Do,
Yes.
Sol, Ra, Ze, Sin, Shin, Sa, Do, To. You know what I mean? It's right there.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
And remember, though, that's the Arabic, the way that they put it in the modern time, but the original was in Abjad.
Okay.
Right. Yeah,
You
yeah.
know, but
Abjad.
that's a good way, the way that they gather it to actually be able to learn the alphabet.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Yeah, but they have the original Abjad, which deal with Alif, Ba, Jim, and so forth and so on.
Mm-hmm.
Praise the
Yeah,
Lord.
so yeah, that's basically the gist of it, family. What we have for today, and that's pretty much what we have, and we'll get further into it at another juncture. So what we're gonna do, we're gonna call forth, our family, and so we can hear from you. Islam, Grand Secretary of the State, since you done set it off already. Islam.
Islam. Having already risen, giving praise and honor we're due. I am so honored to be here in this class. I want to gratitude for my scribes, our family online, also to Act One, giving praises to Allah, honor to our Prophet, and giving honor to you, Dr. Shahi, because I tell you, this is one of the reasons why it's taken this long in reference to being able to trace ourselves back with it, speaking about the language, etc. Is because, and I'm speaking about the era time in which I came up in, all of this stuff was a maze, as far as you kept running into brick walls and things of that nature. So it's a blessing to be able to have an instructor that's going to walk one through, show the keys, show the make it make sense degree. You know what I'm saying? So I give honor to this class, and also for again reiterating the sequence of the language, even in the various writings, for us to be able to discern truth from falsehood and recognize what is our own, and then see the gradual how our people traveled. And of course they're going to take the language and make different modifications or what have you, but you can actually trace this down, and you see where the different languages may have been known by several names depending on who was actually doing the demonstrating or authoring the book or what have you. So this has been a very, very helpful class, because I called myself trying to get ahead, knowing that we were going to be getting into the Arabic, trying to get back with the video with the little Arabic brother and teaching, but it took the enhancement that you brought forth in order to get that light bulb click. Oh, because I had the keys, but in essence didn't know how to use it properly. So this is where the hammer of repetition came in for me. So I'm very grateful to you, Dr. Shahi, for breaking this down, for the readings from the Book of Fire, at dealing with the explanation of it, and also to my the Moorish kin on the panel, and also online, for asking the questions, because that's how we all learn, through this communication. So it's been a grand class. Much gratitude to you. Now I can have even more to work with when it comes down to being able to recognize the stage of the words in Arabic. So gratitude more for that enhanced key. Peace and love.
Islam, and peace and love. And yeah, we definitely we got some grand drawings because like we said, we going through these measures cyclically. And when it comes to dealing with the Coptic, the Coptic is pretty much a piece of cake, so to speak. It's easy to pick up on that because it's close to what we already demonstrating. But it's just good to know the lineage, like you spoke earlier, for us to be able to trace it back. Masterminds able to trace themselves back, and thus they know. And so when we go further and we get into the Arabic, like I said, we can actually see how each language is prepared in a way for the other. And so when we come back through the cycle again, we got a greater knowledge now when it comes to dealing with even the hieratic. We already familiar, we know. So when we go back through that again, oh man, we show enough on point. And then we come back down through the Demotic, and back to the Coptic, and then back, we gonna keep cycling it like that, and that's where everything will become natural. This is how we will immerse ourselves to eventually, we finna start getting into the phraseology, and speaking to each other, saying certain things to each other. We basically bringing a grand degree on the manifest, so to speak, when it comes to this, because this is where all the truth is pretty much brought forth at, and mainly, it don't get no plainer than that. We're gonna also start probably even incorporating the what you call it, Proto-Sinaitic, Proto-Canaanite, or what they call the Hebrew, because we have books that have been things revealed there too. A lot of that's similar, as well, and that come into play when we deal with a lot of the other aspects. So praise be to Allah. Gratitude, Grand Secretary of State, for that grand measure brought forth from the treasures. All right. Well, at this time, is our Grand National Chairman on the manifest, Dr. Akin Acting Pert M. Heru Tutankhamun Bey?
He's not available right now. More gratitude.
Islam. Well, we love him. Tribe endurance as a whole. Islam. Well, we know our National Grand Sheikh is here. Islam. Let's see what our National Grand Sheikh, Dr. Serapis Amin Ra-El, has to say.
Islam.
Islamism, Sheikh.
A journey well worshipped. Journey well looked at and reviewed. This long journey is really short, but let me first give a lot of praise, the highest honors to his love, thought, and our industrious ways as he continues to teach us through our brother men and other ones the way to the house, back to the Father's house. This is a very, very powerful lesson. Something just like Dr. Carter Bay said years ago, we didn't have the wherewithal to draw for this language. Yet we knew that the language belonged to us. And but we allowed these ones to take the language that belonged to us and transform it into something for us, their aspect. So that's the greatest revelation to myself, the fact that I'm actually in the presence of the word that was lost, and how the word is being regurgitated or refreshed or reborn again to bring forth our more skin in a dialect that is of our ancient ancestor teachings. So, and also, it's intimidating. I'll say that, and I'm saying it to the extent that learning how to write these letters. I know we have literature. We will have literature, but I think what I get thrown off with is the right from left, left from right, and how these things go in that order. But as it stands, I'm aware that these uh, uh, syllables and other dialects of this language is greatly needed. And Sheik, I'm so proud of you taking that stand and moving out there in the earth land and giving us not a new song, but bringing back on our language. It's just like what the prophet was doing with our name. He says a lot hangs in, or not hangs, but a lot waits upon the language. And we praise Allah that He has sent us one or a multitude of ones that can speak that that language of our ancestors and reinstill it in our psyche, that we be able to bring it about to help our people that are looking for that journey home. Praise the Lord, Chief.
Islamism. Allah is due to praise. Grand Sheikh. We give honors to you for that love thought, Grand Man. Yes, sir. Minus doubt of contradiction. And that's the thing. The methodology that we use, can't nobody say that they taught us this. Because we taught ourselves. Right here, this has come from our scribes in Moorish America. And there will be those who will come through and look at some of this stuff and try to go and take it and do whatever they do with it. But they're going to have to put in the work like we put in the work. And the scribes are ready here. Each and every one of these scribes, can teach, when it comes to dealing with these aspects, how to bring the language forth. And a lot of this that we leaving behind as we refine ourselves and become more in perfection, so to speak, of it, all is well. It's going to get greater. We have all the tools that we need, and from the digital to the physical books, and it's going to be more purchases I plan to do, because like I keep telling our family, we can't take it for granted the way these ones acting now. They talking like they want to take the books off the shelf. So I encourage our family, if they wonder why, they hear me saying buy the books, get as much as you can, because what you got in your library, in your possession, can't nobody take from you. And you shouldn't allow nobody to come trying to take it. You should even defend it with your life if you have to. You know what I mean? Because there ain't finna be now another library of Alexandria. We're going to destroy the library, therefore we destroy the people. So, then be trying to spin a narrative and give us something else that they want to give us. Like they talking down here now, talking about slavery was good for us, and all this type of foolishness. They want our people coming up thinking like that. They want you to be a good Negro. But Allah is leading on a victorious show. So, Islam, we give honors to your family. What about our beloved scribes, Dr. Dendra Neal Curtis Bay and Brother Marvin Nathaniel Evans Bay? Islam, I see Sister Curtis Bay on the manifest. Islam, goddess and queen.
Islam. I tell you, my Moorish kin who has spoken before me, it's just an honor, just to be a part of what the great God Allah is doing in this class. We praise Allah for you, Dr. Shaheed, and like you say, I can see you was prepared for this. Little did you know, and we all went through it. All of us who are here, whether we didn't realize it when we was coming through life, but all of that was preparation for where we are now. I understand that now, but when I was going through it, I didn't. But it's such an honor and a pleasure to be a part of this great class, to be a part to be a part of this Moorish American government. And I have to give honors to my national grand chairman, I tell you, for that book, The Zooming of a Nation. As I was reading, I'm wanting to talk, but I'm trying to read. Because it was so powerful. Even in the Zooming of a Nation, when I was reading this morning, I'm like, I'm trying to read and trying to hold my composure and trying to not say something. And I'm just trying to read through. I tell you, this is such a powerful, this is a great time to be where we are now. And when you was talking about what really stands out for me every time is we are not just taking what the Europeans have told us, because see, that's what we did. That's what we did. I know for me, when I was coming up, that's what we did. Whatever our preacher told us, well, he was regurgitating what was given to him. And when we was coming up, we didn't question anything. But lo and behold, it was still in our heart. We were questioning it, but we was afraid because our parents would get, beat us or be upset with us. And, we didn't want to make our parents upset. So we just held that stuff in our hearts until we got to be adults. And then we started, I know for myself, we started reading that Bible and we started seeing all the contradictions in there. And we're like, whoa, wait a minute. And we started to do the research, and we was asking the questions, and we wasn't afraid no more. Even if you disown us, because, coming up, the way I was come up, some of our friends, they looked at us like heathens because we had the questions that we had. But even then, we were brave enough to say, you know what? Well, the only dumb question is the question that you don't ask. So that's what helped me to get to the place where, I don't mind asking questions, and I don't mind admitting that I don't know everything. I don't mind going and get some help. You might ask me, well, what about it? I don't know. But I tell you what, I get an answer on that, and I get back to you. Because I know I'm still growing and unfolding, and it's just such a pleasure for me. And then, like when you say, you made the comment how everybody, when you see everybody's doing it, and that was me. I tell you, I'm glad my computer was on mute, because you were saying like what I went through, because everybody else was doing it and everybody else was saying it. I say the same thing. I said, well, if everybody, all the Europeans, all the Egyptologists, all of them is saying the same thing, so it has to be right. I'm asking myself, we talking amongst ourselves, well, it have to be right? Everybody's saying the same thing. And then lo and behold, here comes somebody out of the ordinary, going against, like Dr. Walter Williams and other ones out there, going against what the European is saying. And I'm like, whoa, okay. And so we're at the point now where just because everybody's saying it, I tell you, I question, I just question everything that the European brought to me. Not saying all of it, because I learned some stuff and it's still lining up, it's still holding, but a lot of the things that I learned is not adding up. And we have proved, being in this research class, we have proved it. We have went through, I've seen alphabets, and we done the research, like you say, and I've seen things that contradict each other. And we have went through this in this class on this YouTube channel. I mean, live. I mean, we didn't come out and just did it, showed you. And I encourage our Moorish kin, to stand strong in there and keep coming. And it's just an honor. And don't ever keep your mind open. Don't close your mind. If you come with your fists all balled up and I'm trying to give you something, you can't receive it. But if you come with your hands open, I can put something in your hands and you can take away. And as the National Assistant Grand Chief be saying, take away. And then I can take it and help my Moorish kin, because I can see clearly now what my job is, what our job is to get this message out. And like the God man say, YouTube, TikTok and all this technology. We got the tools and we got to use them to the glory of the great God Allah. Yeah, it can be used for the negative, but that's not what we are here for. We are here to use it, and the great God Allah is leading on, and He gonna show us how to use it to bring glory to Him. And gratitude, God, man, I tell you, this is just a powerful class. I love y'all. Just enjoying everything, and we always want to give you your honors, Dr. Shaheed, while you can hear. So gratitude, God, man, for letting me speak. Islam.
And Islamism, gratitude, goddess and queen, for the honors. And definitely, like I say, I encourage our family too to get that book by our brother Kaba Hawati Kamini, Shabaka Stone, and the African Theory on the Origin and Continuing Development of the Cosmic Universe. I honor this brother because he's one of the modern scholars that come up out of that era you talk about. But he always gave honors to the Moors. And also, I heard the brother speak highly of the Moors and Prophet Noble Drew Ali. But, it ain't strange because this elder dealing with the cosmology, because I have cosmological breakdowns, but he goes into this thing masterfully. And you can tell these are years and years of research. For example, he was talking about Medu Neter hieroglyphics. He says it presents evidence that the ancient Kush in Kemet, Egypt, was a civilization grounded in the mighty and mystical word. See, that transcends all alphabet right there. See, then the brother come over here and he said that in this page 21, it says the Shabaka stone took early African ideas about creation and placed them in a symbolic system which revealed the divine laws of nature. It utilized figurative language of metaphors and myths to tell a spiritual, scientific, and philosophical story. Myth connects invisible world with the visible world. Myth is informed that which experience of a people becomes conscious. Myth provides metaphysical, unseen truth about the physical seen reality. See, this brother here on point. The creation story considered the principles of life and order and arrangement of the cosmic universe. From this perspective, Shabaka's texts are perceived the creator as one spirit, male and female. See, we say there's no gender in spirit. That's right. United in self-satisfaction called Mir, M-E-R, bliss. It says viewed holistically, conceptual ideas as the fundamental founding principle, it says, of the world's organization. Then he says, analyzing Shabaka stone through this symbolism and supreme thought, two concepts emerge. It outlined the step describing what existed before existence and how the cosmic universe came into being for the first time, the Big Bang, and continued, becoming ordered and arranged. It provides a series of symbols to describe the origin and development of life on Earth leading up to humans and human consciousness. This is powerful. I love the way this brother went into this demonstration when it comes to dealing with the language and being able to express the cosmic principles, so to speak. Very powerful. Yeah, so you got to get your hand on that, family. Got to get your hand on it. We got to understand that, again, Medu Neter, there's a reason why we call Medu Neter the language of God. The great God doesn't speak to man like you hear me talking right now. The great God Allah speaks to man through man. When man is able to get the greater perception of what's being said as a result of their unfoldment. As man unfolds, as God unfolds. So God speaks to us in a silent voice that speaks within. And if we understand Medu Neter to be, the language of God, then we can understand by observation, our experience, and things that we come into contact with in creation, and understand what's being said to us, through the channel of the higher self. God frequency, family. So that being said, gratitude, and see if our brother Marvin Edwards Bay have something to bring forth. Islam, grand man.
Islam, can you hear me?
Oh yeah, loud and clear with divine ears.
Gratitude. Yeah, very powerful class. I'm Dr. Marvin L. Bay out of the Texas Consulate. Yeah, like I was saying, it's a very powerful class and very powerful measures. And I concur with all of the scribes and reiterating gratitude for all that you do. What you bring on the manifest is definitely needed. And as I continue to strive, in harnessing the understanding that's being brought forth on the manifest, um, it just becomes more plain as to the source. You know what I mean? As going within that silent voice, like you say, it's not communicating like we're communicating. Although, just like we were talking about prayer and meditation, prayer is like a step towards, and meditation is the um, actual being, the actual expression of the great God, And so it's just a beautiful thing, especially to be among those that's continually striving. And that's what it's all about. We're striving towards the goal instead of fighting over it and going in different directions. We're maintaining a forward progress. And I'm just so grateful for being a part of this. And I just say gratitude for allowing me to speak. Islam and peace.
That's right. You couldn't have said it better, good brother, and that's exactly what's going on. This class is a prime example of what it means to keep it moving forward instead of wrangling over the subject matter. That's right. Because it stagnates and wastes a whole lot of time. And so we give honors to you, brother, for that love thought, brother Marvin Edwards Bay. That's right. We can bring lesson after lesson after lesson, and we are accomplishing a lot along the way, as opposed to what happens normally when our people get together. On any other level, they go to going back and forth. And we don't go nowhere fast, so to speak, like the hamster in the wheel. So gratitude, family, and we just want to say praise be to Allah. Honors to His holy prophet, and honors to the Moorish American government. Ankwajet Senev, Shemotepu, Ankwajet Senev. Life, health, and prosperity be upon you. The peace of the ancestors I offer you. So that being said, family, we can take this demonstration in the third heaven. Sister Curta Bay, Islam.
Islam, Islam, Islam. Gratitude. January the 15th, 1929. A warning from the prophet to be read at every meeting. I hereby inform all citizens that they must end all radical, agitating speeches while at work in their homes or on the streets. We are for peace and not destruction. Stop flashing your cards at Europeans. It causes confusion. Remember, your card is for your salvation. Failure to obey these orders will be a severe consequence. We are for love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. And when these principles are violated, justice must then take its course. Any citizen or group of citizens who hold malicious feelings toward the government or the prophet or violates the divine covenant of the Moorish movement will receive their reward from Allah for their unjust deeds. All true Moors will and must obey the law as laid down to them by their prophet. If they lose confidence in their prophet, they should turn in their card and button, cease wearing their turban and fez, and return to the state where I, the prophet, found you. This is a holy and divine movement founded by the prophet Noble Drew Ali, and if the prophet is not right, the government is not right. The prophet, therefore, is sending out the divine plea to all Moorish Americans that they do their part in protecting their prophet and the government. This is an everlasting movement founded by the prophet through the will of Allah to redeem his people from their sinful ways. By the order of Prophet Noble Drew Ali. A holy covenant of the Asiatic nations. Ye are the children of one Father, provided for by his care, and the breast of one mother have given you suck. Let the bonds of affection, therefore, unite thee with thy brothers, that peace and happiness may dwell in thy father's house. And when ye separate in the world, remember the relations that bindeth you to love and unity, and prefer not a stranger before thy own blood. If thy brother is in adversity, assist him. If thy sister is in trouble, forsake her not. So shall the fortunes of thy father contribute to the support of his whole race, and his care be continued to you all in your love to each other. Islam, Islam, Islam. This meeting is officially adjourned according to Act 2. Love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. Go in peace, Moors. Islam. Great class. Islam.
Great class, Dr. Shaheed.
Great.
Gratitude, family.
Gratitude.
Islam, Moors. Islam, we love you.
Love y'all too.
Islam, Moors. Before we go, I'm gonna close this out on this side, and then I'm gonna draw with our family real quick, and just on a small matter.
Okay.
So we want to give honors to all of our family out there in social media, brother Born Dog. You know, everybody. That brother there, he always showing up.
Yes.
he even gave us a little humor last night. I caught that. He said, "I guess since we having this class, we ain't having no late night library." Huh?
I saw that.
Brother say he said he loved them late night library section. We give honors to your family for that card. And yeah, you know, we definitely bringing them. We had to make preparation for this one though. That way we can rest up a little bit. But honors to you for always showing up, family. It's love, and love to all of those who will see this video later. So that being said, we'll see y'all at the next junction. We're gonna deal with our family, the scribes, right now. So let me stop sharing this right here. Okay, we're gonna end the stream. Peace and love, family.